Alright. Hey yo everybody, this is Granicus201 and welcome to another video. Now today we are going to be reacting to two videos. If you've seen my previous video, you know that I've accidentally I really didn't record a reaction video last weekend. Which again, I do apologize, this is pretty much a makeup session. So the two videos we'll be watching is, the first one being a Subnautica 2 teaser trailer. And the second video from a YouTuber called Sethorven, who I'll have linked down the channel down below, The Day the World Got Good. Now, to be fair, I actually haven't seen the video that Sethorven made for a while. And, yeah. But, hey, honestly, you are not here for me to, talk. You're here for me to react, I guess, right? Alright, starting in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Okay, we're starting off the Abyss. Ooh. That's a new peeper. I was kind of noticing, is that like a new suit? Yeah, that looks like a new suit that we have in the game. Oh, what the heck is that thing? That's like a crack and crab thing. That's what I just saw in water. Well, okay. Okay, they're in the Abyss. Okay. What? Oh, wait. Is there, I think that, if I remember correctly, someone mentioned that you could have like multiplayer in this one. I don't know, but what's that sound? What's that sound? What? What was that? What was that thing? Okay. Subnautica 2. With a Cthulhu, what's one looks like to be a Cthulhu-looking monster. Oh boy. I'll wish list today. No. Okay. Actually, quick question. Quick question for you guys watching. Whatever, since it's set
2011 was 12 years.
Sorry, Seth. But yeah, here's the thing. It says that it mentioned how that it was on release for next year, and since I'm thinking about getting a PC for on November, around the month of November, do you guys, whenever this game fully releases, and I mean fully releases, do you guys want to watch me live stream it? Or do you guys want me to do something else in terms of live stream, on a VR headset? Your guys' choice. Ready? Now let's go to the almost 2.5 hour movie. Alright, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
2011 was 12 years ago.
Make that 13 now.
As I grow older and wrinklier, I bear witness to a whole new generation of gamers who don't remember ye old times quite the way I do. Sure, you newer crowd know about Dark Souls, but many of you probably weren't around when it was in its heyday. From Software had already been around for a while and had their fans through series like Armored Core and Kingsfield, but Dark Souls was the game that put them on the world stage. Originally a spiritual successor to the much more experimental, far less polished, but no less imaginative and ambitious Demon's Souls, Dark Souls was an expansion on that prototype of formula that became an instant classic, creating ripples across the entire gaming industry still felt to this day. That's true. So influential was From Software's magnum opus that it birthed an entire subgenre of games inspired by it.
Yeah, that's true.
These days, it's hard to browse Steam at all without tripping over titles carrying that ever-vague tag of Souls-like. And yes, you probably knew this coming in here already. It's pretty hard. Dark Souls' difficulty has become something of a meme over the years, to the entire series' detriment in my opinion.
I can see that.
Not from a gameplay perspective necessarily, but from a marketing one. To the gaming public and gaming media at the time, Dark Souls was a trial by fire, only for the most hardcore of hardcore gamers. An oasis of brutality in a desert of games that had become too hand-holdy, over-tutorialized, and oversimplified. And sure, there's some truth to that. This was not a game that was tripping over itself to please you or keep your attention. It presented itself to you, expected you to learn it, get better at it, and handle all the exploring of everything it had to offer on your own. Well, mostly, but we'll get to that later. It was a challenge, especially for the time, but good lord did people oversell that one aspect of it. If you'd only ever heard about it, you would have assumed it was just a rage game in the same vein as I Wanna Be the Guy, just with a bigger budget.
I never heard of that.
Marketing for the game certainly didn't help. For God's sake, the title of its eventual PC port was the Prepare to Die edition. Come on now. And oh boy did this come with its fair share of elitism. You couldn't dislike Dark Souls without being called a scrubby casual, unfit to enjoy its magnificence. And thus did one of the most notorious phrases meme its way into pop culture, get good. Something uttered to anyone who expressed displeasure or frustration with the game.
Sorry about that, I was trying to
invalidating
open a
any and all
stack.
criticism by placing the blame solely on the person's skill or lack thereof. Personal taste? A legitimate flaw with the game? Pfft, nah, you're just bad, boy. Cry about it. I should clarify, I love this game to death, but this mentality and focus on this one aspect bothered me then, and still does.
can see that.
There was much more to Dark Souls that made it great than it just being hard. The level design, the art direction, the music, the world, the story. There was so much raw love and
Definitely.
effort put into it that I felt went underappreciated at the time. All that's certainly not underappreciated now. Hindsight is 2020 and all that.
Oh, God,
but there's
see,
still plenty
me-
about it
me
that I
trying to
don't
get
hear
the
mentioned
Moonlight Grapes
enough.
on that.
So I decided to revisit it and see just how well it holds up to that nostalgic memory. I've already gone back and played it many times before in the past, but I never really approached it with a critical eye, and been more willing to admit what it does well and what it doesn't.
Honestly, I
Before
kind
we
of
set
want to
off
hear
on
your
this
thoughts on
journey,
this
I
one,
should
Seth.
mention that I'll be playing the remastered version, because despite all my problems with it, it is the most stable way to play Dark Souls on the PC. The original port was notoriously bad, and trying to record this game off my original PlayStation 3 version was always a minor nightmare, since the console's hardware never seemed to play nice with things like Elgato.
I don't even know what that
It
is.
is unfortunate though, because the remastered version, while it is still basically the exact same game and keeps the vast majority of it untouched, makes a few changes to the visuals that I don't agree with.
Oh, wait.
I'll get into that more in a bit though, because this intro is pushing 5 minutes by this point, and we got a long road
thought it
ahead
was only
of us.
been 3 minutes.
So pack your bags and gather around the bonfire, kids. We're gonna be here a while.
Oh, that music. That's always such a good music.
Before we head out, though, a few ground rules
Okay.
to lay. 1. I'll be taking the intended path through the game as best I can from beginning to
I never
end.
knew what the
This
intended
means
path was.
no master key. Sorry, old friend. We'll be going with black firebombs instead.
Okay.
2. I'll be playing a strength faith build since I was looking to try something new for this playthrough. So we're starting cleric.
Okay.
3. To the very best of my abilities, I'm going to try and do every single NPC's quest line to completion. So layers at the very least. This does mean that I summoned NPCs for the boss fights in this video. I'm still not 100% sure if you really need to finish some of their quests, but I just wanted to be
That's
sure.
fair.
Besides, I needed sunlight medals. So
True,
at the very
yes,
least, I
especially
was
for our
summoning
good old
Solaire.
Sunbro there.
Also, I'll say right now, I didn't get far with Griggs. I kind of forgot about them after saving them. Whoops. And finally,
heyo.
4. I'm not going to go super
Doing
in-depth
reaction
into the game's
I'm
lore.
doing a reaction
Dark Souls is famous
video.
for
You wanna
being the
partake?
fucking iceberg of video game stories.
Sure. We just do that, do this.
Okay, so quick question. Have you played like a little bit of Dark Souls in the past, or have you not? Honest question.
Hell no.
Okay,
I never played it.
okay. So what you're going to be, what we're watching is pretty much a YouTuber's perspective of where they started playing the game, and honestly, I'm kind of excited to hear their perspective. I'm not gonna lie on that one.
Hey, so, I got on when so I went on the metaverse. I saw you were on.
Yeah.
And I went, fuck this shit, I'm going to join his ass. I was literally killing people in Toxic Teddy hide and seek.
Toxic Teddy hide and seek. Not gonna lie, never heard of that one.
It's So have you been to the Meta Horizon world?
Nope, no, I never been there.
Okay, so so that place is basically like VR chat, but less and also some with kids. And I can tell you this, those kids are way underage to play that game.
Gotcha. Okay. I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot, but we should probably start the video before this goes to like a 3-hour film.
Like last time.
Yeah, true. Like the last couple of times.
Yeah, let's just start.
Alright, continue in 3, 2, 1. Let's go, Seth.
Stories once you start delving into it, and to explain it in detail would require me taking at least a 2-week crash course on VaatiVidya, and this video has taken long enough. There's plenty of other people on YouTube who've covered it far better than I ever could, so
Also,
just go look it up for yourself if you're interested. That said, I will at least be giving my own summary of what I do know as we go through, where it's relevant.
I've never heard of
to be accurate, but I'll try my best.
Like he said, prepared to cry
with all of that out of the way,
cry
we're in prison.
From the lore of like the game. I'm not gonna lie, that one.
Off to a good start.
Definitely.
More specifically, we're in the Undead Asylum, a facility built to corral humans that became afflicted
for me, it's hard for me to cry.
Undead will eventually
now
turn
than
what's called
when I was a kid.
hollow, which reduces them to a shambling corpse that attacks just about anything still alive. And one undead here happens to be yourself, wasting away in seclusion before a very helpful knight drops a corpse with a key through the ceiling.
Yep.
Why he couldn't just drop the key and not the whole ass body, I don't know, but we take what we can get in these situations.
It's part of the game.
Thus begins the game's tutorial, and it handles it in a pretty unintrusive way.
The thing is,
actual tutorializing to messages written on the
pause
ground.
it. I need to say
give you the basics to get you.
Okay, just imagine you're just in a fucking dungeon, and all of a sudden you're just waiting for your time to die, and all of a sudden a dead corpse just fucking fall from the sky.
I'm sorry, bro. With me, that would be like,
yeah, you will be like.
Yeah, until I eat the key, then I'm just like. Also, just so you know, I hope you have snacks, because again, long, lengthy video. Yeah. Nickel.
I wish I had snacks. And if I did have snacks, it'll be gone in an instant.
You know what? Fair. That's fair. Continuing in 3, 2...
I'm a fat motherfucker.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
To get you going. They also demo one of the multiplayer aspects of Dark Souls right away.
I said that.
If playing online, people can leave messages for other people on the ground using preset bits and pieces of sentences. You'll find messages that are legitimately helpful, and others that are just people being gremlins. We'll unpack this later. For now, we make our way up to the game's first bonfire.
I'm sorry. When you said barrel, I had to do...
Bonfires became the icon of the entire Dark Souls series. Even Sekiro and Bloodborne had their own versions of these things.
That is a reference for those
rest,
who
level up, and later on, store, repair, and improve equipment.
The first time we see Mario, when Mario goes against Donkey Kong in the Donkey Kong tower thing.
My souls and humanity to my chest. Finding one of these things was
oh god,
always
that bonfire.
Oh
god, that one.
Anyway, where were we? Oh yeah. Luckily, I'm prepared for it. Okay, so yeah, that's usually what happens when you get careless in Dark Souls. The game tends
I always
to
like
take
this guy's videos because he makes it so funny.
This is what we call
timing.
hubris. Thankfully, through the holy power of explosives, we prevail and move on. Now, normally you'd run away from that thing, grab your shield, weapon, and other gear, then go back and fight it again to cap off the tutorial, but it's nice that the game gives you the option to just beat it right away. Even better, you're rewarded with the Demon's Hammer if you do. This is one of the many good things about Dark Souls. It's pretty open-ended. You can approach almost any situation however you want with the tools the game gives you. All it asks is that you get from point A to point B. How you get there is up to you. Sure, you can go through the tutorial in the intended path, or you can bomb the asylum demon so hard there's now a smoking crater where it's supposed to be. It's your choice. This is expanded on later as you get the ability to summon allies for boss fights, get more weapons, spells, and consumables. I never felt like I was forced into playing a specific way or the right way, just that the game expected me to get good at the fundamentals, which thankfully are pretty simple to wrap your head around. Here's our prison break, buddy, and they're dying already, because of course they are.
Well,
but at least he gives us some crucial direction in his final
game,
moments.
So it makes sense, in a sense.
Saying in my family, thou who art undead art chosen.
Yeah.
Exodus from the undead asylum.
Hey, imagine,
land of ancient lords. when thou ringest the bell of awakening,
I
the fate of the
like another human of that,
Oddly
like
specific,
another character of
Camilla
that
was saying,
person,
along with the key to the
but
big
with
ass
a
door
long-ass
and
tail.
the Estus flask, the
Honestly,
single
if
most
there was an avatar that
important
had
item
that in this game, I would take it. I would
This
take
is
it
your
for whenever I
primary
actually want
healing
to talk
item,
about
and
Soul
it refills every
series.
time you rest at a bonfire. Starts with 5 uses. Resting at a bonfire gives you 5, but you can sacrifice humanity to kindle that bonfire, and from then on, it'll give you more. The Soul series
saying, like,
always seem
long
to
tail instead of
change
legs.
the healing system from game to game. This is still my preferred way, though lately they've settled on a similar system with find key item, use key item on whatever your flask adjacent item is that time, and get more uses of it that way. It works and there's nothing wrong with that, but I still prefer the first game's way. Though admittedly it can suck if you get to a new bonfire with no humanity to kindle it and you're stuck with only 5 uses. That does sting.
Yeah, I
a bit.
agree with that one. I agree with you on that one, Death.
Ow! Ooh, ankles! Anyway, after getting the rest of our gear, we push past the big doors, waltz right up this pathway, and...
Bird up.
Bird up.
You know what? Good use of a classic meme there. just appears out of nowhere. Bird up. Oh, man, that's what it actually said as it appeared. Just like, oh, bird. Wait, I just realized he also has a bird on his shield.
Firelink Shrine.
Now, I've been mostly fun and jokes up to this point, so let me dial it back and go slightly serious for just a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
I love Firelink Shrine. There's many reasons, and I'm not entirely sure where to start.
One question,
This is
you're
where
gonna be
you're always
doing a reaction
100%
video, then
no
gain off?
bullshit.
A little bit, yeah. Reason being is because if I started beginning out a little bit more, and I do have some chores I still need to do around the house. So unfortunately, yes, I'll have to get off after I'm done with the reaction. But I will be back on a little bit later.
Alrighty.
Also, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of agree with Seth on this whenever it comes to like Firelink. It is one of the most like best and iconic like locations. It's just a bit of a shame that that after the first game it was just taken out of the equation, which honestly sucks. That kind of really does suck.
Safe. As long as you don't go this way. You can spend as much time as you
I'm
want
to what
just
now?
hanging out here and nothing bad happens. No timed quests that run out
Put
if
it
you idle
back
for
a
too long.
little bit.
No
Yeah, I
enemies
agree.
that roam around until they find you here. Nothing.
Right there.
Starts with 5
Oh, I
uses.
went a little bit
Resting in a
too
bonfire
far
gives
back,
you
but that's
5,
fine.
But you can sacrifice humanity to kindle that bonfire, and from then on, it'll give you more. The Soul series always seem to change the healing system from game to game. This is still my preferred way, though lately they've settled on a similar system with find key item, use key item on whatever your flask adjacent item is that time, and get more uses of it that way. It works and there's nothing wrong with that, but I still prefer the first game's way. Though admittedly it can suck if you get to a new bonfire with no humanity to kindle it and you're stuck with only 5 uses. That does sting a bit. Ow!
Yeah, honestly, I still
ankles.
wonder why you had to go
Anyway,
through
after
that
getting
route
the rest
in
of
order
our
to,
gear,
like,
we push past the big doors, waltz right up this
I still
pathway,
understand.
and...
Bird up.
I don't know either.
But yeah, at the same time, also, there's kind of a bit of beauty when it comes to that. Whenever it comes to the original game, you honestly get to experience.
Oh, by the way, I'm definitely getting new controllers. That's for sure.
Hey.
It's gonna come next week. And it's gonna be the pro controllers.
Ooh,
Self-tracking ones.
ooh, okay.
Now, I've been mostly fun and jokes up to this point, so let me dial it back and go slightly serious for
I
just a
cannot
little
wait
bit.
to just go back
I
to my quest.
love Firelink Shrine. There's many reasons, and I'm not entirely
so I don't
sure
have to
where
worry about
start.
lighting.
This is where you're always 100% no bullshit safe. As long as you don't go this
Oh,
way.
Skelly
And
Bones.
so
You
I
spend
don't
as
have to
much
keep
time as you
putting my
want
hand,
just hanging out here.
keep
and
holding my
nothing
hands
bad happens.
up.
No timed quests that
That
run
way
out if you idle for
I can
too
put my
long.
hands down
No
like I
enemies
want
that
to.
roam around until they find you
Oh
here.
god, that guy.
Nothing. It's very similar to the Nexus in Demon's Souls, but narratively, I think it's stronger, because it doesn't just serve a gameplay purpose of being a hub. It's part of the entire world. The
Miyazaki
land of
wanted
Mordrin
immersion.
is
He's
winding
getting
and
immersion.
vast, but almost all of it branches out from this one spot, and some of it loops back. It's where most of the NPCs you meet end up one way or another, and as you progress, you start seeing more and more familiar faces just wind up here. The further you go, it feels more like a home, reinforced by that somber but peaceful music that plays every time you visit it, and slowly fades away every time you leave. This is the only place in the game that has a consistent musical backing, by the way. With only one other exception that we won't see for a while, the rest of Dark Souls only has music in boss fights or important cutscenes. It creates this unique feeling when you wind a corner and slowly you start to hear that familiar melody just humming away. Firelink is important to the entire experience because it makes the world feel connected, even if it doesn't lead to every zone. The areas it does lead to are often the paths you need to take to reach those places further away, like needing to go through the catacombs to reach the Tomb of the Giants. A minor note, but the use of depth of field makes the world feel massive, even if its main technical use is to hide texture limitations and such. Although speaking of visuals, before we continue, I did mention that I had some problems with the remastered version. They're small things, but I feel like they mess with the visual presentation of Dark Souls overall. The sparkle that marks items used to look more cloudy and slowly fade away when you pick them up. Now it's more like a flickering ball that immediately blips out of existence. And I was going to say that the remastered version looks a bit darker than the original, but I don't know, looking at them back to back, I might just be remembering that wrong, though the remastered version is definitely doing something different. I think it might be using less bloom and the color palette might be a bit more faded. I couldn't tell you exactly what the remastered version is doing differently, but my brain prefers the old one.
They need to, by the way, they need to bring the smoke,
and most aggravating,
just in the first one back.
You know what I think that they were doing?
For
What I
sure.
think they did with the remastered? They kind of got rid of like the far distance, like fuzziness. You know, like how you zoom into the character, your character's a lot more much more detail, but for the rest of the area is kind of all blurred out. I think that's what they did for the remaster. They decided to cut that out and just make everything a lot more detailed. I was like, that kind of doesn't seem right to me. I agree with stuff on that one. That kind of seems a little off. What do you think, honestly?
Yeah, to be honest, when a game first comes out, people will be like, "Oh, this looks good." The environment and stuff like that. It first show, and then when they recreate it, like basically remaster it and stuff like that, people want to see that same kind of thing in that, but get a totally different thing.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I could definitely see what Seth was talking about as well. I mean, seriously, now I think about it, yeah, that wasn't a noticeable difference.
aggravatingly, to me at least, the bonfires in the remastered version I would consider to be a direct downgrade from the originals. I mean, sure, they look like a bonfire, nothing wrong with them, but the original bonfire looked more ethereal and magical, with tendrils of fire-like energy wrapping around and reaching above the coiled sword. It's more visually interesting. This is a problem I have with the bonfires from the rest of the series. They left this original magical look behind, and I feel like that was a mistake. I am probably the only person in the world who cares about this, but I do, goddammit. There's likely other visual changes from the original version that I didn't notice, but those were the ones that stood out to me the most, and the ones that actively bothered me. I'm bringing this all up now because once we get started, I'm not going to have a good chance to later, I guarantee you that.
Fair.
So back on topic. Firelink is immensely important to the whole of Dark Souls,
there's
and
the bird.
I needed to give it the proper appreciation it deserves. So now that I've had my moment of nerding out, want to see me get swarmed by skeletons?
Oh god, yeah.
just basically, just see me get swarmed by skeletons.
I made fun of the Prepare to Die edition, but death is a major part of Dark Souls. You die, you pop back out of the last bonfire you rested at, and you lose all your souls and humanity. You can get them all back if you return to where you died and pick up this mark on the ground. However, if you die again before reaching that point, it's all gone forever.
That one?
Carrying a bunch of souls on you at once is often an unnecessary risk unless you're saving up for something big. Spend it while you got it is a harsh lesson most Souls players have to learn the hard way.
Same here.
Now, while there are 3 pathways we can go from Firelink, the way we really should go is up.
Never down, go up.
Oh yeah, there's also a dragon.
Wait.
Dragon!
Hey, where's Donkey?
The Undead Burg is the game's intended starting area, and it certainly feels like it. Enemies are slow, don't hit all that hard, and sometimes go completely catatonic.
The more I look at this, the more
In
it
terms
looks
of overall
like
enemy
that
difficulty,
castle
the
from
Burg
Shrek.
is an extension of the tutorial.
Because of the
However,
dragons.
the game has taken you off
Yeah,
the
now I think
rails,
about it.
and
Yeah, I
you're
agree
free
with
to
you on that one.
explore
It's kinda like
around.
a run-down
It's worth
version of
doing
it.
so too, since even though the Burg is relatively straightforward, there's some hidden paths and extra items tucked away out of immediate view. And despite the fact that enemies are easy, getting cocky when more than one is attacking can still get you in trouble. We meet our first merchant here, but we're really only interested in one item from them, the residence key. We're going to need that for an NPC quest later. Aside from that, he sells some basic weapons, armor, the yellow soapstone which you use to leave messages, and the dried finger, a new
Yellow
item added in the
soapstone.
remastered version. What does it do? Hold your horses, we'll get to that.
Oh my
in
God,
addition
the
to
orange
merchants, the Burg
soapstone.
introduces the idea of enemy ganks to you as well, but in very easy-to-see coming ways. The hollows here get up very slowly and
So,
take a while to start attacking
what?
when they do.
Everything gonna
The
be-
entire time, they're vulnerable
those gonna
to
be
attacks, so it's
represents
not hard to kill them before they have a chance
Wash
to
your
swing.
fucking
You can even
body
get the
or
drop
else
off
your
if you're
body will
vigilant
turn into stone.
and this is where the idea
know, I never
of the
thought of
item
that
gap is supposed to be shown, where you pick up an item and then enemies that were in hiding suddenly spring on you. But I'm so familiar with this whole game by this point and where most of the ambushes are that eventually I had to purposefully fall into an item gank just to get some decent footage of it.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I guess I'm just too good at the video game these days.
No, you're not.
How tragic. Tagging this bonfire, we make our way across the bridge, kill a lot of unspoken curse words. that you know
Oh,
about
that
throwing
part is so
bombs down
funny.
us.
That part is
And
so
just
funny.
look at this
I
fight
am
here.
so
You walk into
I'm
the
so
room,
good at the
two
game.
guys immediately attack you. After a few seconds of tussling, a third enemy will join the fight, but the game makes it very obvious. If you don't see the
Wait,
Hollow
what he
Knight
just
entering
described.
the
Oh
room,
God, wait,
it
that just happened to me in
loudly
Resident
kicks in
Evil
the door
4
to
into
alert
the
you.
recording
This
session.
is yet another lesson. Sometimes additional enemies will just burst out of hiding, and you'll need to adapt on the fly.
oh,
But
there's
again,
a new,
the way it's shown to you here is very
game,
forgiving and easy
in
to see
VR
coming.
chat.
I should note that
Oh,
being this
what's it called?
It's called Backspace 2.
Oh, hey JMO.
Hola, motherfucker.
We're doing a reaction video. You want to partake? So you said the game. So you said the new VR chat game was called Backspace, right? Backspace 2.
Backspace 2, yeah. There's also another
Whoa.
one, called Ghost Hunters.
Okay, people in reaction, watching the video, comment down below. Which would you want me to do for like a upcoming video, possibly in the future? Backspace 2 or Ghost Hunters?
Backspace 2?
Also, hey Moza.
Well, we should do like, we should also, for you,
Beep boop.
like, have you played Backspace before?
I don't think I have.
Beep
If
boop.
not, then we should do,
frames,
you should do
frames. Okay,
Beep
just in
boop.
case I had to put the shield on, just in case.
so,
Okay, I'm changing avatar.
So we should probably do Backspace first if they want to do Backspace 2. So
Bonk.
Jeebus! Whoa!
My eyes.
Whoa!
My eyes.
Whew. Okay. I had to put the shield on in order to like keep the frames going. Holy moly! Dang, that's a pretty powerful one. So yeah, we're doing a reaction video.
Okay.
You guys want to partake?
Yeah.
Ready?
You ain't special.
Alright, starting the video in 3, 2, 1, let's go. By the way, we got like about an hour and 15 minutes to go. Sorry, 2 hours and 15 minutes to
Being
go.
this familiar with all the trap locations makes my
No.
viewpoint very biased, so take my word with a moderately proportioned helping of salt. Nothing personnel, kid. I'm so fucking badass. Ow. At least we get to take our
So
revenge on
badass,
the
take a
firebomb
bomb to the
douchebags.
face.
And on that note, it's time we talk about one of my other favorite things about Dark Souls, the Ragdolls. What?
The ragdolls.
I wish I could have seen where he fell. Hands down, cards on the table, Dark Souls 1 has the best ragdolls of the entire series. They attain levels of jank surpassed only by the likes of Skyrim. I'm not entirely sure what kind of law of physics these ragdolls are working off of, but for whatever reason, they react so violently to your character's
Wait, what do you mean
movements.
so violent?
It's been the
can you
source
stop?
of endless entertainment for
What's going on? What?
Not the video. The Mosa.
Oh, okay, my bad. Continue in 3, 2, 1.
entertainment for me every time I replay this
Can we
game.
not watch an hour? Can we not 2 hours?
With our newly acquired residence key, we commit some
Well, honestly, I
casual
kind of had to
larceny
make
and
up
head on
for
our
me
merry
not
old
doing a
way.
reaction video last weekend, so.
My guy throws like a wimp. However, taking a small
Just do a
detour
variety
down
of
these
videos.
stairs, we get this ominous-looking interruption.
Alright, how
The
about this? When it
placement of
reaches
the
the 30
Black
minute
Knight
mark,
here
we'll call that
is
it, and then we'll call
great.
that it for
This
part
thing is
1.
entirely optional, is way out of your way, and it's not even facing you as you approach. Fighting it is 100% your choice, and amongst all these slow, easy-to-digest lessons the game has taught you up to now, this one is hard and
I gotta go.
fast.
Oh, see, Jama?
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
It's
the
a
Black
great
Knight.
little curveball since the whole game has been so not that up to that point. And if you hadn't died already, that's probably death number 1 for many
Definitely.
people. I wish there was a player death tracker like in Dark Souls 2, but specifically for this Black Knight. It's got to be in the hundreds of thousands by now.
I think even like millions possibly at this point.
Oh man, playing Spy be like. Round 2 goes
Some
much better,
spy as
thankfully.
an image.
Okay. I was in the wall. Makes sense. By the way, I'm so used to starting with the master key that I habitually go to try and open this door, even though I don't have it. Up the spiral stairs, one specific barrel hides a crystal lizard that we kill for some nice upgrade materials, and we make our way out onto the bridge.
Well, that was
Nothing's
very
out on the bridge
anticlimactic.
just yet, but go a little further and...
Oh,
Zipper in your body.
oh, hey, Taurus Demon.
a sudden boss fight on a narrow bridge. While the fight itself is fairly straightforward, you've got limited
Why
elbow
would you
room to work
eat a
with.
zipper?
However, upon entering the bridge, you'll most likely be shot at by 2 archers from above and behind you
Oh,
before you
God,
even get
yeah,
far
I
enough to
forgot about
spawn the
that.
demon, prompting you to climb up and deal with them. Then, when the Taurus demon jumps you, you can still
Holy
climb back up
shit.
the platform at the start. While you're up there, it'll look up at you and, hey, this looks familiar. I
yeah.
wonder if... Yep! Or you can just wait up there and it'll jump up to join you, giving you a circular arena to fight it with a bit more room to dodge around. Explore, go slow, and more importantly, pay attention. These are the lessons Dark Souls is trying to teach you in this first area.
That's always the
I'd
core,
say it teaches them
core
fairly well.
teaching of every single
Together,
one.
those 3 concepts make up the basis for how you should approach
Well, except for
any
Sekiro
Souls
and
game.
Bloodborne.
Cautious and attentive. Also, on a side note, for the purpose of recording, I had to turn this music off to add it in post later. And without music, this fight is very...
Boring.
What was that hit noise?
pathetic sounding.
Just, oh.
That would be me saying boring.
And honestly, yeah, that was
There is
without,
nothing in these barrels. There will never be anything in these barrels. There never was anything in these barrels, and yet I will always break them every single time. Making our way from the
Yeah,
bridge
that's just
onto
me.
another bridge, we meet our next major NPC, Solaire of Astora. All right, let's talk about Solaire.
Okay, Hyper.
He's just a good
I don't
boy.
think
He's
I
a
need
good
to
son,
tell
bro.
you that when Dark Souls first came out, Solaire became a fan favorite almost
Yes.
immediately. People latched onto him, and of course, that signature phrase
and engage in jolly cooperation.
has been a meme ever since. But there's more to Solaire than him just being a fun character with a kind of silly way of speaking. That's not the only reason people became so invested in him. You see, throughout Dark Souls, every NPC you meet, even the nice ones, all have their own agenda or are just performing a service for you. Hell, some even straight up betray you or just gradually reveal themselves to be complete pricks. Petrus!
Yeah.
But Solaire is different. In a world devoid of liveliness and hope, Solaire stands out as the only true optimist you meet. He's jovial, confident, strong. Hell, he's more of a hero than you. He's a bit slow, but he's got the heart to make up for that. He's the OG Dark Souls himbo, but even that isn't everything.
Did I just
When
hear
you
himbo?
first meet Solaire, he gives you the white soapstone, which you use to lay down a summon signature to be summoned into other players' worlds and help them. Most people typically do this to team up on bosses, and in several instances, you can also summon Solaire to help in fights. There's a few other NPCs you can do that with as well, but out of everyone, Solaire doesn't help you just because it furthers his own goal. He just genuinely wants to help and enjoys the camaraderie. You're both chosen undead
heyo.
on the same journey as each other,
Oh.
why not? With everything
We're
being
doing
so
reaction
bleak,
video.
someone like
Beautiful.
We're doing a
Solaire...
reaction video. You want to partake?
I can't see myself in the mirror. God damn it. Hold on.
Well, to be fair, you are a snake.
I'm beautiful and I can't see it. Damn it, let me... Please. Please. Yes! Okay, it works.
Alright,
I can see my beauty.
are you ready?
I'm gonna sync myself. Hold on.
Okay, you know what? That's fair. You ready, Mr. Stick? Three, two, one, let's go.
Lair is refreshing. It's very fitting that when you first see him,
Just
he's
straight up.
gazing up at the sun, its rays piercing the smog-like clouds and shining down on him. Yeah,
Like
that
something
can
went up
also
and
be
stuck.
symbolic of ignorance and
Honestly, that scene
naivete.
right there
Someone
is
who
one of the
hasn't
reasons
yet
why I
caught
love
on
exploring
to the
worlds
devastated
in
state of
games.
the world
just,
he's in.
Just for sceneries
And
like
so
that.
focused only on the good that gradually the bad will begin to catch up to him. While we won't get to it until much, much later, his story comes to an emotional head further down the line. Either way, I loved this guy then, and I still do. Even through 3 whole games, he's remained my favorite in the
No,
entire
someone I
series.
love.
Anyway, back to our journey.
And
After meeting
now-
Sunbro, we begin making our way across the bridge. Now, up to this point,
You wanna
Dark
know?
Souls has kept itself
How you know?
restrained while it attempts to teach you, without words or exposition,
You wanna know?
the unspoken rules of
I
engagement
don't know,
and the best ways
but
to approach
I
it.
can't know seeing the
So,
bridge yet.
since we're
Wait,
past
was that
that
bird mark?
extended, unofficial tutorial, now the game
Oh,
starts
Yeah, I
talking
think
to
so.
I'm playing Popper.
Now, this part probably got almost everyone their first time through. There is a visual clue about
I
this
just
with
I noticed
charred
that one
stone
right when he
and
was going on the
corpses on the
bridge.
path ahead of you, but on my first playthrough, I did not notice it and caught a face full of dragon breath. Fortunately, it doesn't do enough damage to outright kill you, and you can run across and duck into this safe space without it attacking again. From here, we head further down and kick this ladder to open up one of the many, many shortcuts built into Dark Souls' world,
Dark Soul.
which I then promptly don't use. Now, if I were playing this the same way I did all those years ago, I'd take this door on the left to go under the dragon and the bridge. But with the power of knowledge, I now know how to get around it. Yeah, I don't know why that works either. Masterfully slipping our way past the dragon, we shove all the souls we've gained up to that point into faith. Just enough to get it to 25, which is the exact amount of faith we need to pledge ourselves to the Covenant of the Sun and gain the best spell in all of Dark Souls. Fucking fight me! Lightning Spear.
Lightning bolt.
Fucking fight me!
Iconic and devastatingly powerful. Lightning
Why does this
Spear
feel like
is
it
a
could be an
spell of
actual
joy
commercial
for the
from
righteous
many years
warriors of
ago?
sunlight. Strike down your adversaries with not
For
the
real.
power of your unwavering conviction.
Wait, maybe
for
this,
all
is, maybe
things
this is
good
how
and
they
just.
advertised the original Dark Souls
Lightning
game.
Spear, the spell of champions.
Fireball.
So yeah, I like Lightning Spear. It's simple, hits like a truck, and turns the entire rest of the undead area into a joke. Not many enemies in the game are resistant to lightning damage, and some are extremely weak to it, so this spell stays good throughout the whole
When he
game,
KO.
even if it starts to
Damn.
slightly fall off toward the end. But that's fine, because eventually, we'll be getting an even better version
Oh,
of
right,
it.
the
For the
steroid one.
moment, though,
Forgot about
this
that.
here gate is blocking our happy fun times, so down we go to find an alternate path. Snagging this here key before we go, we introduce ourselves to the locals, do a quick balancing act, and continue on. Oh, hello there, Square Fog Gate graphic. How are you doing? Pretty sure the camera's not
Squared.
supposed to catch that. Hang on a minute, I gotta draw attention to
Wait,
that shit. I'm not sure which body that is, but it looks like their legs are stretching away from their torso. This next position always made me laugh. It's like they're trying to imitate that Black Knight from earlier.
Okay, you have to do
Thank
him
you
dirty
for
like
them,
that,
though.
man.
Okay, this pathway's kind of a dick move. There's 2 enemies hidden
Well,
on
get
either
his
side
lightning
of these
bolt him in
corners,
the
so
back
the best way
instead
to
of
deal
just
with them is
macing
to
him.
walk out and then immediately duck back in to try and lure them to you. I have a minor panic attack when I accidentally use lightning spear with this knight charging me. That works. It's fine though, because the Dark Souls ragdolls continue to be a built-in stress reliever. Around this corner, we
This
took
is
our
my
revenge
new
on the
fucking
prick who
case
shut the
surviving,
gate on us.
goddammit.
I was obviously over there, which allowed me to parry you from over here. Didn't you know? We pick up a
Get
very
parried.
important key for our trouble and then continue on. Watch me expertly dodge this crossbow bolt totally on purpose.
Ooh.
Moving
Okay,
on,
now that
we
was
reach the
actually
next
pretty good.
bonfire in this old
Hitboxes.
church, and hey, Andre, you fucking fridge of a man, how you doing? Okay, kids, time for
fridge of a
another
man.
point. Dark Souls is one of those games that gives you just enough information on the story and mechanics to get you going, but if you want to learn all the details, you got to do a bit of digging yourself. One of the best
Yeah.
ways to do this is just by talking to everyone and exhausting all of their dialogue. Most of them have something important to tell you that gives you background on the world or a hint on where to go next. A lot of NPCs will even give new dialogue after certain points in the game, so it's worth checking back with everyone when you find yourself
What
stumped.
the fuck
Other
is wrong
times,
with you,
some
chat?
info is
I have no
deliberately
clue.
hidden from you, and there's no way to know about it without
Apparently, I'm in
methodical
go-kart
exploration
zombie
or
tag
just
right now.
blind luck. This is what we used to call
How?
secrets.
Mm,
Bits and
yes.
pieces of a game or an entire
I'm
chunk of it
currently
hidden away for you to
go-karting
find
zombie
yourself
tag
or
at
with
this
the help
very
of
moment.
others. Remember what I said in the
This is
intro
amazing.
about
That's
discovering
weird, but at the
everything
same
on
time
your
also you
own?
can't chill it,
Well,
so
it's
it
not
doesn't-
just
I guess
you
it really
who
works
are on
out.
this journey. If you play online, you can see ghosts of other players going through the
Let's go
same areas you
do
are.
some other
You can
dumb
summon
shit. I
other
gotta go
players to
soon
help
anyway.
you, and yes, you can also invade other worlds
think
to
he
fight
lagged
each
out.
other. See, Dark Souls was built around the idea
No, he
of
left.
shared
Oh, okay.
knowledge, being a communal journey of sorts, harkening back to the days of sitting with your friends at lunchtime
Oh,
at
so,
school, sharing your stories of secret playable characters,
It's-
hidden levels,
it's
that
fun
whole Yoshi on the roof thing in Mario 64
hanging
that
out
actually
again.
turned out to be true.
That's
Stuff
true,
like
not
that.
gonna lie.
It's not
Especially
meant
since
to
we
just be
haven't seen each
played
other as much.
once and put back on the shelf, even though that one
Yeah.
experience is still
Oh,
great
God,
all on
not
its own.
those things.
There's content
Not
in it
those
that not
flippin'
everyone is
bulgy-eyed
gonna
lizard
find on their first
things.
time through.
Those
And there
can-
was
those
a
go into the
friggin'
deep
gold
pits of
rush
hell.
to discover it all. Remember the pendant fiasco, where entire swaths
That's
of
funny.
the community
They
were
came from
convinced
the
this
pits of hell.
seemingly useless item had some hidden use, and collectively spent months, if
You know,
not
that's true.
I'm
years,
sorry.
trying to
I
find
had
it,
to.
only
I
to be
had
told by the
to.
man
I
himself,
had to. It's
Miyazaki,
too
that
funny.
it was, in
That's
fact,
too funny. You go,
useless and was put into
those
the game
things should
as
go
a
through
joke
the
for
pits
this
of hell.
exact purpose. What a guy. This was still before the time when data mining became the norm,
I'm
and
not
we
gonna
could
lie,
just
that's a pretty
dig
good one.
into a
That's pretty
game's
good one, not gonna
files
lie.
and find everything the boring way. The whole idea of shared knowledge being basically a necessity to experience everything a game has to offer has its pros and cons, but I have a certain respect for games like that. There's
love
entirely
you.
not enough of them these days, that's for sure. Secrets that are actually, secrets almost
Oh,
seems
right,
like a
forgot the
dirty
coffin.
concept these days, or at least an antiquated one. I don't know, maybe I'm weird, but I like my games with a bit of mystique to them. Anyway, I've old man rambled enough, let's get back to the adventure. Why do you have a giant Titanite demon statue living next door to you, Andre? Are they paying you rent? Or maybe they're just terrified of the man who, in a world of gods and demons, swords and sorceries, elects to bare-knuckle box people and drop-kick them out of fucking existence. Look, when you have that much meat on you, you can solve a lot of problems with a body
True.
slam.
That's
now, before
true.
we head up to the bell tower and accomplish our first major goal, we have a few stops to make. So off we go to Darkroot Garden.
More like dark.
I like Darkroot.
Groot.
It's certainly dark, but
Garden.
there's some
God.
color and life to it that stands out a bit from the more bleak coloration
I'm
of
sorry.
the undead bird
I'm
above.
sorry.
Without looking like the two
It
don't belong
rhymes.
in the same world. It's
Root,
not exactly
Groot.
smiles and ice cream,
I know,
as
yeah,
everything
but
is
still.
trying to kill you, including literal walking shrubberies and
look at
giant
Groot.
stone knights that are impressively weak to getting maced in the knee. Wow. I'll attempt to dismantle this item gank before it happens, and it doesn't
You're
go
in a very
exactly
funny
as
mood today,
planned.
aren't you?
We'll solve later, and we nab a very important item
It's
set.
because I'm
If you
with
ever wanted to
you.
kill sentient trees, surprisingly, Dark Souls has
Yeah, I
you
forgot
covered.
about those
Also
living
lizards,
trees.
frogs, lizard, frogs, something. Behold, the Dark Souls
Hello,
1
Sun
ragdolls
Top
going
Pedals.
fucking ballistic.
Or should I say slime bugs?
We really
I just
only
saw
did
that
this
guy
ring to grab this ring that I don't need because I'm weird like that. We head
There
back
goes
to
like-
Andre briefly to finish leveling up my mace to the max that I can currently get it, and while we're in the area, we stop by the entrance to Sen's Fortress to say hello to a very special boy.
And your boy.
Meet Siegmeyer. Along with Solaire, he also became a fan favorite character. Very innocent, a bit doofy, and really sounds like he's trying to be the big chivalrous knight type, but is just kind of struggling.
So here I sit, in quite a pickle.
Well, you're a
wearing
bit of
my
an onion.
offspring, so to speak.
I can't lie. That looks like the fucking entrance
But we
to
love him regardless, and if you
Hogwarts.
don't, you are factually going to hell. I'm sorry, those are just the rules.
Yeah, the more I look
don't
at it,
really
yeah, I
have a
can see
big
that.
segment to explain Siegmeyer's importance and reason for being liked because I feel it's a lot more obvious than Solaire. He's a walking onion
don't know
who
why.
hits himself in way over his head on
things
multiple
pop into
occasions,
my
but
mind,
still
and I have
keeps
to
trying
say
his
it.
best. And you know what?
And they
Good for him.
fucking-
We'll be seeing more of him later, though. Don't you worry. Like I said, we're trying for every NPC quest line.
And look,
I tested out my
that looked like the
newly-empowered
fucking
weapon on
bridge,
this
but
giant
without the
Sentinel
fucking,
Knight, and it proves very effective. Then we nab ourselves a
roof
Firekeeper
thingy.
soul, very important,
True.
and bear witness to the Dark Souls community being as
we're
classy
back to
as
that.
ever. Now, what's supposed to happen as we climb the bell tower here is that channeler up there is supposed to
Oh,
buff
God,
up a bunch
yeah,
of hollows
another
with
one of the
ridiculous
most irritating
damage,
enemies
who
in the
then
first
try
game.
and rush me through a very small door, making themselves very vulnerable
Dumbledore,
to some
no!
sort of war crimes. But I don't feel like dealing with that, so
You
we're
just
gonna
bombed
nip
the
this
hill.
problem with some masterful lightning marksmanship.
You fucking suck.
Masterful
You suck.
marksman indeed.
Stepping into this here elevator, we ride it all the way down and, hey, this looks familiar. Finding a path that looped back to Firelink after all that I had done up to that point
Oh,
was
look,
kind of
it's-
amazing to a younger me. It kind of blew my mind
Harry
that through
Potter's
all of
cousin.
that, I ended up this close
Harry
to where
Plopper?
I started. And that was kind of the moment where the whole of Dark Souls' world began to feel as connected as I see it today. While we're back in town, we stop
No,
by and
look,
check
look,
up on everyone.
look at the
Petrus
hair,
here
look at
finally
the
has more
fucking
to say to
face.
us, and after some
Don't tell me that doesn't look like his fucking
he tells
cousin.
us
Yeah, I
more
can see
about
it.
why he and other companions of his are here.
the fucking
They're escorting an
snotty
important
bitch one.
figure through Lordran on what he
Yeah, the
calls
spoiled
an
brat of
undead
Harry Potter.
mission to seek something called kindling, which
Yeah.
is the art of feeding humanity to bonfires to gain power, which is something we've done ourselves before. We don't
And
have
he's
much more to
fat
go
like
off
his
of
ass,
yet,
too.
but we will very soon. Don't
Don't
worry.
use the spoiled
Now,
brat.
I could have used that Firekeeper soul to upgrade my Estus flask while I was here, but I forgot to do that, so off we go. We're on our way back to Darkroot specifically to grab one more important item
We're not
off the
trying to
beaten path.
fucking,
Unfortunately,
hate
it's kinda
on Harry
protected by this
Potter. It's
much
just-
beefier halberd-wielding Black Knight.
It's just too
But
funny
thankfully, its
to
AI
see
entirely broke and didn't seem to mind
some
getting
stuff
blasted in the back of the
that
head
looks
with a bolt
just
of
like
lightning.
the
Twice.
things in Harry
And
Potter.
behind
Yeah.
them is the best shield in the entire game. The
Yeah, that
grass
is a-
crest shield
To be
doesn't
honest,
have
I'm
the
a-
highest
I'm a
defenses,
very-
but
I'm
it
a
does
very
give a
good
pretty
fan of
substantial
Harry
buff to your
Potter.
stamina regen when you have it equipped. This even carries
Well, the
over if you
movies,
have it
not
on your
the
back
books.
while
Yeah, that's true.
two-handing a weapon. And
Try to
even
do-
then,
try
its
to read-
overall defenses are still
I tried
pretty
to
good.
read the book-
I
one of the
always
books.
get this damn thing whenever I play this
Too
game.
long. Too
Always.
boring.
Unfortunately, it's
Don't
just a
have
bit
the-
too heavy for us
the
to continue
imagination for that
light
shit.
rolling,
That's
so
fair.
time to start taking off some clothes. It lets the world admire the beef jerky muscle we're sporting.
Beef jerky, what?
Also, the view of the basin here is just fucking gorgeous. Back up to the
Beef
parish, we
jerky.
finally start making our way up to the bell tower. This knight learns the hard way that it can't parry lightning to the face. I'm pretty sure at this point it'd be easier to count what part of the Geneva Conventions we aren't violating. Breaking through this door, we meet another important NPC lying away in a cell.
Knight Lautrec.
I'll savor you.
And I guarantee a reward.
Oh, yeah, him.
Only
It's about at this point I looked down at my Estus flask and realized, oh, I'm an idiot, and skedaddled my way back down the fireline.
You're right, man.
Before getting off the elevator early to snag these hidden items. May as well check in on Lautrec while I'm down here. You can tell he's
It was
trustworthy
standing in
because of
front
his
of that
sinister
guy
suckling.
so long that I had to do it. I had to do it.
We talked to this lady that's imprisoned below Firelink to empower our Estus flask with the Firekeeper
You know what's funny?
soul.
I sound
Now that I say all
almost
of
just
that
like
out loud,
more.
that's pretty fucked up. What in the world am I doing? We reverse our
I mean, to be
hollowing
fair-
and
okay,
at long
I
last,
have to say
make
something,
our way
Sethorven.
back
It's
up
Dark Souls,
yet
what do you
again.
expect?
I decide
Happy
to
friendly?
sprint past the hollows this time, and they very thoughtfully form a death queue for me. How considerate. Finally, we ascend to the roof and summon a dear friend.
Hmm? Oh, hey,
my
this
God,
is
the
Notre Dame.
demon devil. He looks like the devil.
The Bell Gargoyle is a pretty easy The Bell Gargoyle is a pretty easy fight when you've got Lightning Spear and Solaire on your side, even if he does
I just
tend to get a
love-
bit confused. Solaire, that way, buddy. That way, man. But with the amount of damage we can put up between the two of us, it hardly matters. It's a good beginner boss, though. Nothing fantastic, but it does throw a spanner in the works by
That's a
spawning
beginner
second one
boss?
with
That's
half-health.
stupid.
Yeah, that's one of the official beginner bosses.
2, 3, 4.
With the
Well,
gargoyles
as you
thoroughly
just saw,
dismantled, we
it's
climb our
very
way up
easy
to the
to
top
do.
of the bell tower and ring the first Bell of Awakening, marking the first major step in our journey. Which apparently magically summons this guy.
Oswald.
If you commit a sin at any point in
Oswald.
the game, you can
Oswald.
come back to this guy and pay him a sum of souls to erase it. We make
What was
one
that
more pit
laugh?
stop in Firelink to check up on everyone, double check my equipment and Andre, and then continue on our way. As I leave the church, the game cheerily informs me that disasters are gone after the defeat of the Gravelord servant. Yeah, that's probably something else I should mention. Dark Souls' multiplayer has more than a few layers to it. Most of the covenants you can join, like the Warriors of Sunlight, alter
Some
how you
people
experience
have,
the game's multiplayer
weird-ass
and
laugh
even
like
introduce
mine.
entirely new modes with it.
I sound like
The way
one
they
of that
typically work
fucking
is you join,
evil
you
villain
do a
just
thing
laughing.
specific to the covenant, get a specific reward for that covenant, accumulate those rewards, and then turn in a certain amount of them to earn items or spells as you advance.
I
the
just
This is
see
the
her now,
frustrating
and now
part
I
of
feel
trying to
sad.
100% the game
Man.
these days, since the multiplayer, while it's still certainly active,
That's a
is
fucking
not
bug
as
lady.
active as
Well,
it once was. And
I
most
think you
of the
might
covenants
cover
are
it in this
centered around
video,
PvP,
but you'll
which
understand what I mean. Uh-oh. Wait and see.
I never like.
Smack.
More often than not, I seem to just get laggy fights or people who have devoted hundreds to thousands of hours to their craft, and I am nowhere near that level. I do get why people like the PvP, it's just never been my thing. But the Covenants are still a major aspect of the game and lend more to the idea that Dark Souls was developed with the concept of being this shared communal journey in mind, whether it be through helping each other along the way, or beating the living daylights out of each other. Really, it was just down to how you enjoyed playing the most, and to this day, some people still argue about what the true way to play Dark Souls is.
That unfortunately
Hint,
is true.
there is none.
Yes!
Anyway,
I agree.
with our previously
Hence,
acquired
there is
basement
no
key,
true
we
way.
opened this here door to the lower levels of the Undead Burg. Would sliding down a rusty ladder like this be good for your hands? I don't think it
No.
would be. I guess I am wearing gloves.
Yeah,
If we
that's
make
true,
an
you are wearing
immediate
gloves.
right
That'll
turn
make-
up these
I think
stairs, we
fine.
find another gate to open, and holy crap, that's a pretty significant shortcut. And I forgot to include this in the recording at the time, but what makes this sort of thing especially cathartic is we're a good deal more powerful now, and these enemies that used to take a bit of work would
Oh,
be
hey, Flora.
folding like paper.
Oh my.
Despite how brutal Dark Souls can feel,
That's in there
it
with
does
you.
something
No, he's not with
very
me today.
important. Breaks up
But
that
we are doing a race
difficulty with
video. You
moments
wanna
of
partake?
mercy and genuinely rewards you for your
Honestly, fuck Stetson to death, man. I hate him so much. I don't
What's
like him.
going on?
You see, I was in a fight with him because he always makes people like feel people so bad right now. Okay, he's always like this. Like, I just recently got into an argument with him weeks ago because I thought he would be friends with me again. Okay, and I was just saying, I was just down. I was sitting there, and he didn't even notice me. He gets a crap or anything, but he doesn't give a crap about me. I just went to him and went like, "What are you doing in there? Why weren't you speaking to me? I wanted to have a chat." And he goes like, "No, shut up. This is why I want to block. This is why we are not friends, Floda. But like, it's always like this, Graticus. It's always like this." And I found out that he's a creep. Don't believe me?
No,
Don't believe me?
No,
Like,
I understand
someone-
what you're talking about, but at the same time, also keep in mind that's part of the reason being why I still haven't friended. However, I've kept my distance away from him. Essentially, I said, "Okay, I'll collab with you like once every month, and that's it. Like that's at the bare maximum."
Didn't you realize he's friends with someone called Click? That he told me to go kill myself? He told me to go kill myself because of something I did. That I had to speak to Detroit about this. Because I didn't really like the situation, how it was going. Like, that's his friend, and I don't really trust Stetson like this. I'm not trying to treat you like a therapist, Graticus. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to.
It's fine.
I just want someone to comfort me.
It's fine, man.
I just want someone to comfort me, okay?
It's fine, dude. It's fine. You can hang out with us.
Yeah, you can join us.
Alright, while you're watching that, I just want to say something surprising because I finally got to watch something I've always wanted to, but with someone encouraging me to watch it.
And what's that?
It's like a show. It's like a show with these three demons and a hound thing that just want to kill random people, whatever, that hired people that want to kill. And
I'm not gonna lie,
it's a demon
I'm not
show.
gonna lie, I never heard of it.
Haven't you heard of Hell of a Boss?
Oh yeah, I've heard of Hell of Boss. Yeah, I've seen some of the episodes.
Well, I did see the whole season, the first season anyway. And I'm trying to catch up on the second one next week.
All right, so you go first. Sorry, you go first.
Yeah, I got to watch it, and I'm not like a Satan, whatever that is. Even though I'm a Christian, I just like it because of the humor. But there's so much sex jokes; it's everywhere. Everything that just seems wrong about it, and I bursted laughing in my head.
Okay, so with
like it.
You go first. You go first.
Like it's just kind of weird. Like it's kind of weird. It's always sets. So I don't know why they want it, but still.
All right, so to get
it's the creator's humor.
All right, so to catch you up on the video, we are essentially watching a person's like point of view of like with them playing the game of Dark Souls 1. So this is a YouTuber called Sethorven, and right now we currently are 1/5 of the way through. So yeah, it's a long video. Okay.
I know it is a long video.
Right.
And I heard that you don't use like Discord that much. I get it. So like, do you only use Instagram?
I don't use Discord as much. I am trying to use Twitter or X like a little bit more, but at the same time also I kind of do span the distance between, so it's kind of a little.
You're probably gonna have to leave Twitter because people are moving to Blue Sky and Twitter's getting worse.
Well,
because of Elon Musk.
Well, either or. Continuing with the video in 3, 2, 1, let's go.
For your efforts. Here specifically, it's like an indirect way of
I
showing
do not know any crap about this game at all, but what is
more
this?
powerful
Me neither.
By giving you a reference
We're basically
point of
watching
where you
Sethorven's
were
Is this like
not
one of
that long
those-
We're basically
ago.
watching
It's a
Sethorven's
confidence
journey in this
boost,
game.
and even in games designed to test the player, this sort
Oh,
of thing
medieval
is
game.
vital. And then moments later, we're introduced to not one, but two brand new enemy types, both of which fight much differently than anything we've encountered up to that point. The second of which being introduced in a straight-up gank. So directly following a moment of relief and reward, you're then reminded that the game can still throw new tricks at you, and you shouldn't get cocky. Like I did.
hate that I
While
have
we're
to
down here,
verify
we
the
freed
phone
Griggs
number
from his
I'm using on this
imprisonment, and then I
Discord.
promptly forgot to do anything else with them.
I hate it when that
aside from
happens.
checking on them in Firelink later. Behold, the beautiful sounds of Sethorven. Before we take on the next
I
boss,
think you go to
like
opera
to
with that
first
voice
open
there,
up the next
Seth.
shortcut ahead of time. It's awfully polite for enemies to just stand there and let me blast their head off their shoulders from afar. And would you look at that, the shortcut loops
I'll be right
back to
back.
Firelink
Okay.
again. All
Maybe
roads to
7:45,
Rome, or
74.
something.
Then just continue watching that shit. I'll be right back.
Gotcha.
Then I got bored of waiting.
Wait. Oh god.
Oh, I
him with the
guarantee
two
more than a
dogs,
few
not
people
him
remember
with the
this
two
guy.
dogs.
The Capra Demon themselves isn't that difficult or particularly interesting. What made this fight hell for new players in the old days is the two dogs that rush you down in the utterly tiny arena you fight them in.
I think
As
you
can see in
you
the
might
time it's
not
taken for
know
me to
who I
describe
am, by the
fight,
way.
I'm already dead.
Not
Panic is
Soda,
the
but
word I
this
choose
guy.
to describe this boss, because
Whoa.
the
Oh,
second
my
you
arm.
cross that fog gate, this ugly ass thing with twin great
It's not
swords is
just
leaping
Wolf.
at you like a bat out of hell, and the two
It's
dogs are
Mr.
chewing at your
Wolf.
ankles. And by the time you manage to get away from them, you've already cornered yourself.
I think you
don't
gotta
have a
watch
whole lot of
the
room for
Bad
error
Guys,
in
by the
this
way.
fight, which is probably
It's
why
on
I don't
Netflix.
like it very much. It's great as a scare for new players and was certainly a wall back in the day for
Wait,
many people.
I never realized
But
the Capra
apart from
Demon
that,
had
it's
4
just not
eyes?
that interesting. Round 2 starts off much better as I luck out and get both the
I
dogs
don't know
in
what
one
the
swing,
hell is
and
a
once you
Capra
clear
Demon.
them, this fight gets
Oh
much
wait, I know
easier.
this game.
The Capra Demon
I've seen
swings
tons
are
of memes of
very
it.
slow, and while he can
Like the
certainly take a
boss,
chunk out of you,
you
he's
think it died,
extremely
but
weak to
it
getting lightning
revives
shoved in his
like
face.
it's a second
Near
stage
full health,
boss.
3 shots, dead. Damn. He also just kind of
It's
gave
the
up toward
"you
the end. for me.
died"
I guess he
meme
was mourning his dog
that they use for this game.
Yep,
I did
definitely.
just break
This is
into
the
where he
this is
was
the origin-
squatting and
origin of
trashed
it.
the place without word or explanation. Ooh, shiny key. With our
Yup,
newly
shiny
acquired
key.
unlocking instrument, we begin our descent into...
Stingity dingy, stingy, stingy, stingity dingy, stingy,
Some of the
stingy,
hollow in
stingy,
here have
stingity,
torches, and they break the goddamn rules.
Wait, what do you mean by
They
that,
have
Seth?
this bizarre flailing charge that has no starting
that
animation. It just kind of comes out all at once, like... Down here, we rescue another NPC, Laurentius the Pyromancer, who was about to be eaten by... Oh, hello up there.
What the?
I love this goddamn spell. Oh yeah, and watch your head while you're down here.
stingity, dingy, stingy, 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 stingy.
Get off of me, you little... I died to these dogs in the water. I'm reminded why they're my least favorite enemy in the game. The butcher thing here briefly forgets there's a table in their way. One bolt to the face and a back full of mace gets them out of the way, and we are rewarded with...
I just touched
yes.
the chicken with
A
my
large
hands.
ember allows us to upgrade our weapons from +5 all the way up to +10, so we'll have to make a pit stop at Andre later. We also get a sack. I look beautiful. Okay, may as well just go back to Andre while we've got the time. Sack boy away! Back at Firelight
I
Shrine,
heard
we
that
do
from
the
your-
usual
from
checking
your
of Box
mic.
1 and see that Lodge
I heard that laugh in
That's
the mic.
concerning. And hey, Petrus has friends now. I'm so proud of him.
What?
You mind repeating that? Thank you. Meet
was
Lady
that?
Rhea of They're the ones Petrus talked about being on that undead mission to seek kindling. They're not very talkative at the moment, so we won't stay long, but Vince does mention them going down into the catacombs soon. I can't
Oh,
wait
look
to
at
hear
that.
about
It's
their
Vincent.
resounding success. One small note,
That flag
NPC quest
raising
lines
from the
advance as
back.
you progress through the game and beat bosses, but you need to physically speak to several of them before you go too far,
Oh, my
otherwise
legs.
you'll miss your chance. You can fast forward a few quest steps by just quitting the game and jumping back in. I have
got
no
the
idea
stinky
why
leg.
this works, but oh well. A few resets later, we find Petrus all in his lonesome again, distraught about being separated from his group. Mm-hmm. Oh hey, Lautrec's back, and he has some spicy info for us? Why yes, please.
Maiden Thurland and her followers recently arrived in this
Yes.
land, but she became stranded deep below the catacombs. Her followers either fled or were reduced to hollows.
Oh god damn it, and I was so confident in them. We confront Petrus about this, and
I can already
he's
tell you're not confident
suddenly
about that.
changed his tone entirely, almost seeming pleased that Lautrec spilled the beans to us. Maybe because he doesn't have to hide his intentions anymore?
Right now, you could do as you please with her.
Pardon?
The poor little purebred is entirely helpless.
I restrained myself from zapping him on the spot. Well,
should
now
have
we
zapped
have a
him
maiden
then.
trapped in the undead catacombs to rescue, but we aren't exactly prepared for that, so we'll come back to this later. And Laurentius made it back here safe and sound. Sweet. He teaches pyromancy, which, unlike miracles and sorceries, are not dependent on stats when used, but are instead empowered by the pyromancer flame used to cast them. The more you level this thing up, the more
That's a
powerful your
pyromancy
pyromancers
flame.
get, and being able to cast magic with almost no stat allocation needed aside from spell slots is pretty nice. Anyway, off to Andre. Imminent gorgeous view? Oh, I do agree. We give Andre the large ember and chat him up a bit. He tells us
Sorry,
about a
couldn't help
divine
it when
blacksmith
the
in
way
the
he
Darkroot
said that.
Garden who made
Gorgeous
weapons
view.
specifically for places like the catacombs. Well, isn't that convenient? Why don't we pay them a visit before we continue? Disasters are gone after the defeat of the Gravelord servant, and we're off to Darkroot again. This time we hang a left in the area we got the elite knight armor from toward a set
my
of
leg.
ruins. Oh, hello, sir. How are you doing? If you don't
Speaking of my
mind, I
leg.
need to get by you. Thank you. Come again. Up the tower, we come to yet another fog gate. Well, not getting any less hollow here. Off we go.
I gotta hold on.
The moonlight butterfly is such a cool looking bug.
That was
It's one of the most
perfect.
complicated designs we've seen in the game up to this point. It's beautiful and ethereal, almost like it doesn't belong here, like it came from a dream.
Alright, but coming down from the laughter, I heard he said it was
Its
one of the most
music
pretty
theme is very
bosses.
simple,
I agree.
but hauntingly
This is actually
pretty,
one of the most
fitting the
beautiful bosses.
butterfly's graceful, floaty movements. Its magic attacks can do a lot of damage if you're
It'll
not
look like
careful, since they aren't
a
entirely
fucked up fairy.
telegraphed until just as the attack is launched and it's already dead. Huh.
The quickness
Yeah, this
of
fight
that.
takes much longer if you're
Just like,
running
and it's already
melee
dead.
only, since it spends most of the fight flying around out of reach until it comes to rest on the bridge. But with Lightning Spear, it just kinda melts. Well, it's still a very cool boss from aesthetic alone, even if it can be kinda completely and totally
So wait,
cheesed with the right
this
build.
looks like an air
Fun
banana?
fact, you can actually see it resting on the
Oh.
tower before you step into the fog
I never
gate.
knew that.
It also stands out as the only really pretty thing we've seen in the game so far. Everything else is dark, decayed, looking devoid of hope and life, or is just monstrous and frightening. The butterfly is entirely different and makes you
Baby,
wonder
my mom
just
wants
how
me
it got here. This
to
is
get
compounded
something.
more as you climb the tower and find the divine
That's all right.
blacksmith Andre spoke about. Dead,
Oh.
and turned to stone, clutching their divine ember in their arms. Everything's been fairly straightforward up to now, but this is when Dark Souls first began to make me question things. Why was this odd creature here? Why was it at the blacksmith's tower? Was it the one who turned him to stone, or was it in mourning? Did it attack us because it was hostile, or was it trying to defend the blacksmith's remains? This is another layer to Dark Souls. The world tells a story to you, obviously through the dialogue of the characters and descriptions of the items you find, but it also has these moments of a sort of unspoken narration, details in the environment that give you hints or mysteries. Things that may be missed if you're not paying attention, but open up a lot of questions when thought about at length. The thing is, though, not all of those questions end up answered. This is obviously not an approach to storytelling that everyone likes, but personally, I love this. It gives enough context to get you going, but the more you delve, the more you think, the more you uncover and let your mind wander, the deeper and more complicated this dark and depressing world starts to get. And the whole overarching narrative is made less and less cut and dry. Now, I'm seriously digressing and really need to get back on track, but we'll come back to this point later. For now, I'll just say that for me at least, this is when Dark Souls started to show that it wasn't just about the fun and the challenge. This was the first hint of a hidden beauty to it. Yoinking ourselves back to Andre, we give him the
Yoink.
Divine Ember, and now he can make us divine weapons and plus 10 weapons. But I'm not doing either of those yet because at the moment I don't have my main weapon, so for now we'll be rocking a plus 5 mace. Gonna be relying on Lightning Spear to get us through the next bosses for a bit. But before we do that, we have a very special friend to go meet.
Oh.
We didn't just get the Divine Ember from the Divine Smith, oh no, we also got this key. Now, where does it go? Well, we only know of one more locked door so far, but we're taking a different route to it. Back in Darkroot Basin, we scurry our way across this little stretch of land, ignoring everything there for the moment. Don't worry, we'll be back later. For now, our friend awaits and he is apparently very eager to meet us.
Wow.
What the rock is
No. Meet Havel.
No.
He's a chunky boy who has something we want, and surprisingly, it's not his godly armor and weapon. We can't even get those yet. He is slow as fuck, but do not let him touch you. That massive bonker of his will most likely one-shot you at this point. Most people just chain backstabs on him since he's so easy to
Guilty.
outmaneuver, but me, I like to live on the edge. That was risky.
Yeah, that was extremely risky.
After taming the living boulder, we get the ring that literally everyone gets.
Yippee-dip.
Havel's ring is incredibly useful since it significantly increases the max load of equipment you can wear, which lets you wear big armor and use heavier weapons and stuff without worrying about slow rolling. And with Havel's power in hand, Sackboy evolves into John Dark Souls. Also known as Protagonist Man. The Elite
Protagonist
Knight
Man.
armor is the most iconic set from the entire game and pretty much the whole Dark Souls series, so I
that's
felt
true.
like I had to wear it for this video. That being said, it does make me mid-roll even with Havel's ring, but we can deal with that.
Yeah, speaking of which, hold on one sec. Don't I have something for me then?
Welcome to Dark Souls' sewer level,
Sorry,
kids.
folks, for
I don't know
blocking
if this
you
is
for a sec.
actually a sewer,
Oh, yeah,
but I certainly count it as one. It's got all the hallmarks, cramped
There we go.
corridors, a dark, gross color palette, slime enemies that for some reason are highly resistant to physical damage, and of course...
Rats. We're rats. We're the rats. We pray at night. We stalk at night. We're the rats.
I'm the giant rat that makes all love.
Ooh.
I actually don't have that much to say about the depths overall. I guess as far as sewer-esque levels go, this one isn't one of the worst. The area's only bonfire being hidden behind a locked door is a bit of a dick move, admittedly, but at least the key's not too far away. What's more noteworthy about the depths are things like the introduction of the basilisks, these freaky little fuckers that'll spew curse fog at you, the abundance of ROUSs, and the first NPC invader, Night Kirk. Kirk kinda sucks. At one point, I appeared to get invaded by an actual player and then didn't, I guess. And of course, the abundance of cramped corridors makes ragdoll freakouts all the more common and no less hilarious. I guess I have a friend now. They're coming with me. Foolish slime, I have the power of friendship on my side. Aww. But yeah, all in all, not a bad level, though I really only ever view it as a transition between the Burg and Blighttown, and it hasn't stopped feeling like that. Well, actually, there is one other notable thing about this place.
Ah, right. Mr. Crocodile Lizard Teeth.
To be a fly on the wall during this thing's creation, I gotta hand it to the artists. Being able to design shit like this is definitely its own skill set. Technically, this is also our first dragon boss fight, and what a first one it is. 50% of its body weight is teeth. It's also got an order of magnitude more health than any of the bosses we've fought so far. Now, that's also because I was able to summon Solaire and Nightlaw Trek for this. Go get him, boys! I'll be right behind you! The latter of whom had his summon sign hidden behind a pillar, the cheeky prick. And when you have summoned help, the bosses gain more health to compensate. But even without summoned help, this thing is chonky. Especially considering I'm running with a handicap with this under-leveled mace, I'm basically just letting Solaire and Lautrec tank it while I pelt it with lightning. Ooh, that was a spicy air shot if I ever do say so myself. Ow! Although I say that, but watching the footage back, I'm not entirely sure if Lautrec did anything.
I think I saw him
He may have hit it once. Excellent job, gentlemen. Round up next week. Either way, with the Blighttown key firmly in hand, we zoop back to the bonfire, have a nice chat with Domhall here, and at long last, reach the most infamous area of the Dark Souls early game.
Oh god, not there.
As I write this, I've been sitting here for a good 10 minutes, trying to think of what the hell to even say about Blighttown. Everyone knows it, everyone's experienced it, so what's left to say? Well, I guess I can say that as much as this area can piss me off, as much as I hate the poison waters that FromSoft just really seems to love putting in their games, and of course these fucking toxic dart fuckers, I love Blighttown. Aesthetically and narratively, I think it's one of the strongest areas in the entire game. It's basically an unofficial sequel to the Valley of Defilement from Demon's Souls, which also had a very similar theme. Ramshackle slums made of rotting wood, barely held together and looking prone to falling apart at a moment's notice. Everything is decrepit, gross, diseased, and decayed. The denizens here are warped and mutated. Maybe once upon a time they were human, but now there's something else, as if the filth and rot of this place has corrupted them. The waters are poisonous. The wildlife is nothing but giant insects and parasites. What else could even live in a place like this? This is a place for the lost, the undesired, and the outcast. Below even the sewers of Lordran. Locked away and forgotten. This right here is the strength of Dark Souls. Hinted at with the Moonlight Butterfly and shown much more clearly here. And again later, but we're not there yet. Environmental storytelling. The world itself and the order you experience it tell you a tale. A hint of the state of the world before it became as it is now. What life was like before the fires began to fade. Now, as I said, I'm not an expert on the actual lore, so I won't be going into it much here. But when I first played this game, and as I returned to it several times throughout the years, this is always what Blighttown and its placement in the world told me. Up above, where the populace lived in relative comfort and safety, guarded by giant towers and walls of stone, the lowest of the low, the least wanted among them, lived lower than even the vermin in the sewage, treated like a disease, cast away, and never thought about again. It wordlessly questions whether the state of the world was all that great before the fires faded. It asks you, as the chosen undead, is this really worth fighting for? You see what it was like before you. You experienced it yourself at the asylum. You were one of those undesired and corralled. Why are you here? What reason do you have to even care what happens to this place? It never wanted you to begin with.
Question.
We've just been following this vague prophecy, doing what we're told because we had to. It was our fate. But this? Is this really the world we're trying to save? Again, some or all of that probably contradicts a specific part of the actual lore, but I'm just saying what goes through my mind when I play this game. Art is always interpreted subjectively, and this, to me, is what Dark Souls is saying between the lines with Blighttown. Maybe this world isn't worth saving. Environmental storytelling. It's hard to get right, but it's incredibly powerful when you do. And we don't even have a full picture yet. I'm coming back to this thought later, so be ready for that. Oh, that's a good sign. My mace is really starting to feel like a pool noodle. At least Lightning Spear is still keeping pace, but we'll be getting a better weapon soon anyway. Descending down the slums here is never not nail-biting with how close you come to falling right off. There's a few spots where one mistimed roll can send you tumbling, but thankfully there's a bonfire relatively close to the start out in the open.
Oh, so
Still doesn't help moments like these.
Oh, God.
You could just call that bridge Hi, my name is Anxiety, and it would be fitting.
I agree.
There's a lot of vertical traveling in the first part of Blighttown, and it can be kinda easy to get slightly lost.
Yeah, that's
also,
true.
I really need to re-emphasize these toxic dart fuckers. They never stop being annoying. But mercifully are also one of the very few non-boss enemies to stay dead when you kill them, even if you rest at a bonfire. I am forever grateful that these big guys can be parried. After a while, we finally start approaching the lower level of Blighttown. This place is big, and it takes a while to get down from this first part. I nearly restart that journey by misjudging a roll and getting myself stuck.
What?
Oh, this is a bit of a pickle, isn't it?
I agree.
Could I? Well, I guess I only have one option. Oof. How's it going, fellas?
Yeah, hi there.
But at long last, we finally make it to the second bonfire. Oh, God. We reverse our hollowing to kindle it, and then this happens. What is happening to my leg? On our way out, we get our second NPC invasion.
Wait, isn't that... I forgot, who's that called again? Midrid? No, that's a dragon. Okay. I always wonder why your character places his hand on top of your opponent's head. Like, here. He places his hand on their head and just bang!
You know, despite how
Mildred.
decayed and gross this
Mildred.
place is, getting to the bottom and looking up at the world just beyond the valley is amazing. I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, this poison sound effect is really getting on my nerves, so let's wrap this place up. I do a bit of farming for upgrade materials for our weapon later, and take a quick stop in the big tree. I love how behind this illusory wall is a locked chest and another illusory wall. What was going through the mind of the first person to discover
Probably,
that?
what the
If I
heck
had to
moment.
guess, they attacked the chest to check it for a mimic and accidentally hit the wall behind it. Oh, and don't worry, we're coming back to this
The
place
tree.
later.
Oh, God,
and
the
after
tree.
trekking all the way across to the other side of Blighttown, we
Quilags.
finally come to Quilag's domain. This giant mess of spider webs, eggs, and ugh. At least I can finally stop that poison noise. From here, we bring back dear Mildred, whose face is probably still concave, and finally...
They give her brain damage. Again, only one response. Dead abdomen.
Well, from a visual perspective, I'd say Quelaag is one of the best looking bosses in the entire game, and no, I don't mean that in the way you think I do. I mean from an animation and overall design perspective, Quelaag is awesome. The way her upper body moves with more grace and purpose, starkly contrasted with the skittery, more ferocious movements of the spider half, makes it seem like she's two different creatures rather than one.
I can see that.
She's also one of those bosses whose theme I never really remembered until listening to it afterward, because when fighting her for the first time, I was kinda panicking. I mean, it's a giant spider lady running you down, spewing lava at your face, swinging a giant fiery sword around, and occasionally blowing you the fuck up. It's kind of a lot to deal with. I'd probably say she's the hardest boss up to this point, but with Mildred on your side, she becomes much easier. Even if Mildred is kinda fucking stupid. Mildred, help. Don't run into the lava, Mildred. Don't run into the lava, you fucking idiot. You absolute dunce. Get around the lava. But honestly, great boss. The build up to her with the whole mess of spidery webs, the overall fight itself, the music, it's all a home run. And once again, she has that what in the hell is going on here vibe with her whole lair and just herself in general. With Mildred getting the final blow, we bring her down, and at last, after several hours, we reach the second Bell of Awakening. Yay! The first half of our journey is almost complete. But before we leave, we head down these stairs and pass behind this illusory wall to meet the Fair Lady. That's the only thing the game refers to her as, by the way. Her name is never actually spoken. Speaking to her proves unhelpful, but she does give us the option of joining the Chaos Servant Covenant, which we will be doing, but not yet. Now, she is completely silent, but if you speak to her with the old witch's ring equipped, she can actually be understood.
What is it?
Given her raspy and weak tone, she seems to be incredibly ill, sustained through the offering of humanities, which are what you use to increase your rank in her covenant. She's also the sister of Quelaag, whom you just killed, and thinks you're her. So Quelaag attacking you wasn't out of hostility, she was protecting her sick sister.
Oh.
God fucking damn it.
Yeah.
A lot of you are probably familiar with Vadi Vij's series Prepare to Cry. Yeah, he goes over a lot of stuff like this. Dark Souls is fun, challenging, beautifully dark, and heartbreakingly depressing all at once. We do still have a quest to continue though, so leaving all this behind, we ascend back up Blighttown, take a small detour to grab a few items, reaffirm to myself that these toxic dark guys can all burn in the deepest layer of hell imaginable, snag this key, and head out. With the new key, we open a previously locked gate, take the elevator up, and once again, welcome home. And immediately we notice Lautrec is missing again, and the Firelink Maiden is gone, with only her clothes and a black eye orb in her place. And the game cheerily informs us she's dead, and now the Firelink bonfire no longer works. Okay, things are getting real. It was kind of neat to have this happen right at this point in my playthrough. Right after completing a major leg in the journey, we get a big oh shit moment and have a new objective. Track down Lautrec.
It's noisy, it snores, and its breath is lethal. This is no laughing matter, I tell you, and I was really beginning to like it here. Maybe it's time I do something about it.
But first, we have a new character to meet.
Was it you who rang the Bell of Awakening?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm looking at either. You know, for as bleak, hollowing, and brutal as Dark Souls can be, sometimes it just throws you a fucking curveball. Seriously, what in the hell is this thing?
I am the Primordial Serpent, King Sika Frowned.
Oh, okay, it's a primordial serpent.
Before time
question,
itself.
What's a primordial serpent? Do they all have flesh mustaches? Either way, my man, please evolve lips and hide those teeth because they are freaking me the fuck out. Actually, wait, no. Now that I think about it, this thing with big puffy lips would probably look even worse. So, yeah, never mind. Well, can you at least stop doing that jaw thing? I just... Ugh. Years later, after many repeat playthroughs, I still don't know how or why this thing exists. I mean, at the same time, though, I love that it exists because it's just so unexpected and adds to that special brand of oddity Dark Souls has to break up the tension. That's one of the more unique things about it. For all its darkness and brutality, it's still got a very fantastical element to it, and it isn't afraid to get a little weird. It's kind of like playing through a dark fairy tale. For example, giant mushroom men who punch your fucking soul out. Anyway, right, so Frampt here has awoken after both bells were rung and has some more info for our quest. He tells us we're to succeed Lord Gwyn, usher in a new age of fire, cast away the dark, and break the curse of undeath. For this, he sends us on a fetch quest to get something called the Lord Vessel from Inner Londo, but we can't get there without going through Sen's Fortress, so that's our next stop. He then becomes a vendor, kind of, in that you can feed him all of your unwanted items in return for souls. We stop at Laurentius to upgrade our Pyromancer Flame because even though we aren't using it, we do need it to be at about level 10 to advance his quest. And with all that settled, we head off to... Well, actually not just yet. First, I need to get my main weapon, which drops from these snake boys, and it's a fairly rare drop, so pardon me as I farm them for a bit. Oh, thank fucking God. We top our new sword off at plus 10, convert our mace to a divine mace, and now we finally head off to... the catacombs! We still have a lady to rescue after all, and we can't leave that thread hanging forever. What's good, Skele boys? I'm rocking a divine mace now, delivering the good word of Jesus through the power of blunt force trauma. So the reason we wanted a divine weapon in the first place is because these skeletons down in the catacombs are not only weak to divine weapons, but they also won't stay dead unless killed by one or you kill these nearby necromancers that keep reviving them. And unfortunately, Lightning Spear does not count as divine damage. I like the little head pat they do when they revive. It looks so goofy. Ew, gross. So the catacombs themselves are pretty neat, honestly. They're sufficiently creepy looking, filled to the brim with skeletons, and more than a few secrets to find. It's big, it's dark, it's catacomb-y, but apart from that, I don't have anything specific to mention, so instead... Hey, so this segment was supposed to have the Spooky Scary Skeletons remix by Living Tombstone playing, but apparently that gets completely screwed by YouTube copyright, so just imagine it here. So how many of you didn't know there was an illusory wall here that led to a bonfire? I know there's probably a few of you at least. Also, I thought Patches was supposed to be here, but oh well. After our super happy skeletal fun times, it's time for...
Pinwheel.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, he was a major pushover.
Yeah, I got nothing to add here. Moving on. And now it's time for everyone's favorite level. The one where you can't see shit.
God,
I really don't know why this specific trope just keeps showing up in games, but here it is, in all its frustrating, unfun glory. The second you cross the threshold into this area, the game's brightness fucking plummets, and you have to rely on either slow, careful movement to progress, or if you're lucky enough to find a skull lantern on one of the necromancers earlier, you can use that to light your way. There's two other methods, the light spell you get from the DLC and the sunlight maggot, but more often than not, your two options are either lantern or good fucking luck, dumbass. Hope you like fumbling around in the dark. Thankfully, we don't have to go all the way through this area yet, just a good portion of it. I'll save most of my opinions on this place for when we return here, but just... yeah. Anyway, after stumbling through the dark, we find Mr. Patches at last, and I'm not even going to pretend to not know what's coming next. He, of course, tries to convince us there's treasure over the ledge, and then...
That seems like Patches to me.
Oh no, who could have seen that coming? Fun fact, if you hadn't gotten a lantern yet, don't worry, the game graciously gives you one now. So to recap, if you hadn't found one earlier, then after fumbling about damn near entirely blind, battling giant skeletons in the dark, and trusting every single blind jump and slide, we would finally get the thing we need to navigate this place reliably. No. Not yet. Anyway, we find Rhea down here in the pit, and unsurprisingly, her two bodyguards have both gone hollow, leaving her trapped. Vince and Nico are both fairly tanky, but our new weapon makes short work of them. After we ensure her escape, we yoink ourselves back to the bonfire, and finally, back up to Firelink. Petrus is less than pleased we rescued Rhea.
For the little madam is not worth her salt.
Don't know why you're upset, but okay.
Charming. Yeah. We find Rhea in the undead church we were in all those hours ago, and now she becomes a miracle vendor for us. We want her spells, as she gives some of the best miracles in the game, and in order to advance her story, we need to buy all of them off of her. So goodbye, souls. And finally, with all of that out of the way, we make our way back to Andre and enter...
Now? Finally now.
Welcome to beautiful Sen's Fortress, proving grounds of the undead, and most likely the sole source of entertainment for some sick motherfucker with too much time on their hands. Who needs legs?
Joe Swanson.
You know, despite being a house of traps, the actual traps here are pretty out in the open. This would be the perfect excuse to throw in some genuine rage game bullshit, like having the floor fall away from you without warning. But in all seriousness, Sen's wild ride is actually fairly tame. Now, that doesn't make it easy, of course. We got fights on precarious walkways with little room to maneuver, giant boulders that I love using as impromptu parry attacks.
You came back as soon as the
send you
snake boy
flying
got
into a
crushed.
tar pit, and if the fall doesn't kill you, hello, sir. Arrow traps, a mimic, this one elevator that I guarantee got you on your first playthrough, don't lie. This snake dude here just chilling, more boulders that have the power of reverse momentum, and of course, snitties. Kind of. And that's not counting the outside where we have a giant on the rooftops hucking massive fire bombs down at us. I won't show the entirety of my Sen's Fortress journey. It's a pretty big place with a fair amount of secrets. I did look for just about everything there was to find here, and there was no shortage of dumbassery such as this.
Okay.
Let's do a whole follow-up vid with some extra clips that I couldn't fit in. There's plenty in this whole playthrough I haven't finished. Sen's Fortress is like the depths in that it's more of a connecting area, but it's overall more memorable. It certainly does sell the whole House of Traps thing. I love this view from one of the balconies. Seeing the first bell tower off in the distance is a nice reminder of how far we've come.
I love exploring games.
And of course, we have our second encounter with our dear onion knife.
Perhaps I could try some rolling. Bah, no chance. My head would spin.
While we're here, we have an NPC to rescue, which first requires us to do a little trolling.
Oof.
Big Hat Logan, very aptly named, is trapped here and requires assistance. Not a problem. I snagged a key earlier for just this occasion. He'll be skedaddling back to Firelink, so for now, onwards we press. We take out the firebomb lobbing giant for no other reason than pure spite for its existence and prepare to finally take on the area boss. You know, I was going to do the thing where you summon Iron Goddamn Tarkus, that is his full name, and let him solo the thing, but I needed an extra sunlight medal, so I summoned a fellow Sunbro and regretted my actions almost immediately. With it.
Beatles!
I'll be honest, the Iron Golem looks intimidating, but it's a complete pushover. Literally.
Yeah, true.
And yes, you can make it fall off the edge of the arena with that and kill it instantly. I didn't do that since I wanted to get at least some fight footage out of this thing. I'll say though, the biggest threat it does pose is knocking you off the ledge, since its swings can definitely send you flying if you're not careful. Apart from that though, there's really not that much to talk about here. The real boss of Sen's Fortress is just the whole thing. The Iron Golem is more like a reward for getting to the end.
Why you bully me?
And with the triple pelvic thrust of the gods,
Why you
bully me?
We briefly ponder the mystical orb of forward progression, and finally, we're hoisted up over the horizon.
Another beautiful sight.
Honor London. Londo.
High upon the mountains, bathed eternally in the golden glow of the sun, spanning out as far as the eye can see, Anor Londo, the city of sunlight and the home of the gods. Very few things in gaming compare to that first sight. Coming up over the mountaintops and seeing the city in all its glory,
the Harry Potter
gleaming
castle.
in the warm glow of the setting sun. Or rising. Either way, it's a breathtaking sight.
No, like,
and yes,
literally. The door, the towers, that's the place where Harry Potter grew up to know wizardry.
By the way, just so you know, we're getting to like some of the deep stuff. You already missed the one involving like a place called Blighttown in the game, but you are going to be seeing the other half, which is part of like this thing, as far as I can tell based on this tone.
This is something I've only come to appreciate recently, but the placement of Anor Londo, following your journey from the crumbling undead asylum through the mossy and rustic burg and the utterly squalid Blighttown, is pretty brilliant. I said I'd have more to say about the world earlier, and here it is. After subtly questioning whether or not this world you've been chosen to fight for is worth saving at all, the game's unspoken narrative plays its final card here. You've seen the worst, the lowest, where the least wanted and most desperate were confined to and locked away. Now, you see where the highest rung in this old world social order resided. A city of gold and stone, beautiful and eternal, looming above it all, unbothered by the perils suffered by those beneath, as if existing in a reality all its own. I should reiterate, I'm not quoting the lore here or trying to be 100% accurate. This is purely my interpretation and mine alone, just from looking at the way the world's presented. After everything we've experienced in the world at this point, Anor Londo really does feel like a world apart.
Those
a completely
are
separate society
definitely the correct position of
it's a pretty obvious
of the windows in Harry
richest
Potter.
and most wealthy among us being the most detached from reality's harshness, living in self-indulgent opulence. Yet, as beautiful as it looks, it's clear that something is still wrong.
Oh my God!
Silence, emphasized by its utterly massive size.
This happens before Harry Potter.
Empty and lonely. There's barely anyone here except for ancient
talking about a
guardians
deep
and
moment.
demonic
Oh, you think
creatures
he's
that
Harry
have since
Potter?
moved in. Not counting any boss encounters.
I'm
the
sorry.
only people you talk to here are
That
the keeper of the
castle
city's
is
first bonfire,
the exact
blacksmith,
replica of
Siegmeyer,
Harry
and
Potter.
Solaire, the latter two being fellow adventurers, not even native to the city. It's like the beauty of Anor Londo is a thin veil that hides its
And
tragedy.
people out there
And
that
beneath it
that
all, it's
watching
no different than the broken world
react to
you've
this
seen
shit.
so far.
Tell me.
Which
In the tell him in the comments.
Anor Londo,
Doesn't
as
this
we
look
see
like
it,
the
is
fucking
alive,
Harry
an
Potter
illusion
shit
created by the
that-
last remaining god in the city, Gwendolyn, the neglected
The
son of
Harry
Gwyn.
Potter castle that
When the illusion is
that's
broken,
in the
golden
goddamn
sun
movie
that
and
illuminates
in the
city
books.
fades, leaving only the cold and hollow night. Even most of the enemies are gone, making it all feel even more barren.
Hollow.
Whatever reality this city was hiding from, it caught up to it in the end. In
Look-
many ways,
look at that.
both literal
That
and
that looks
figurative,
just like
Anor
Harry
Londo
Potter
is
castle.
the peak of Dark Souls. There's a lot more I could say, but I think I've gotten the point across. To me, Dark Souls isn't just about the difficulty or the challenge. It's not the PvP or anything purely mechanical. For me, it's the experience, from beginning to end, and the story it tells you without saying more than it needs to. That probably makes me weird, but hey, that's nothing new
We're
for
all
me.
weird
It's at
around
least
here.
fun to write it all out. And now I think I've officially gone well over my allotted serious time and we're overdue for a tonal shift, so while exploring this one room and getting my hands on the late Havel's coveted armor and weapon, I proceeded to fall headfirst into an obvious mimic that I knew was there and still somehow forgot about. Embarrassing, yes, but I can really only laugh at myself here. Brilliant timing, Minger. Brilliant timing. As was mentioned, we run into both Siegmeyer and Solaire here, the former of which we have to rescue from a room full of Silver Knights to advance his quest line. In this place especially, it feels nice to run into these two, and reassuring that they haven't conveniently died off screen or something. Hey, remember the Firelink Keeper that died? Well, with the Black Eye Orb we got from their corpse, we can invade the world of Lautrec, who seems to have been expecting us, having put together a gank squad just in case. Unfortunately for them, I have the power of Jesus. With the Firekeeper avenged and their souls regained, we summon Solaire to our side once more and step through the big fog wall. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Anor Londo Arena. We have an exciting match for you today. All the way from the Northern Undead Asylum and the land of Astora, it's the enigmatic chosen undead, and Solaire, the warrior
You can't tell
of
me that
sunlight.
that does not look
Together,
like
these
the
cafeteria
where Harry Potter duels
the unlikely
Professor
destructive duo you all know and love. The
what's his
mighty
face?
and menacing Executioner Smo, whose name no one can agree on how to pronounce.
I'm sorry if I don't remember the goddamn professor, the
Please put your hands together for the Super Londo Bros!
Super Mario reference there?
Ooh, that's not good.
That's not good.
Dragon Slayer Ornstein and Executioner Smo, however the hell you want to say it. The original Wall, the ender of many deathless runs, and the most famous boss encounter in all of Dark Souls. This fight is great. Its music theme is amazing, and the dynamic of Smo's slow but devastating attacks mixed with Ornstein's speed works better than you'd expect. Trying to keep Smough in line of sight while dancing around
Look where
Ornstein's
the doors
attacks
are
can be
at.
tricky.
They're
And if you
literally
try to
at the
break away
same
and get some
spot in
distance,
Harry
Ornstein
Potter.
just zoops on over at the speed of fuck you and keeps you nailed down. Of course, with Solaire at your side, you can keep one of them distracted, but I'm quite familiar with soloing these guys over the years, and let me tell you, the fight's different depending on who you choose to prioritize too. The second phase is reached when one of them is defeated and the still living one takes the other's power and fights you solo. As an aside, I love the detail of how Ornstein is respectful and honorable in how he takes Smough's power, whereas Biggie Smalls over here just flattens Ornstein's sorry ass like the greedy, malicious fucker he is. Did I mention this guy ate people? No? Well, there you go. All in all, there's a reason this fight is the most remembered one. It was a summit back in the day, and while I can definitely say, even solo, it's not as hard as I remember it being, it's no less awesome. The mood is great, the music is great, the whole encounter is a lot of fun. It's just a really good boss fight, and is the pinnacle of the entire Dark Souls experience. But the funny thing about pinnacles is, after you reach them, there's only one way left to go.
True.
But before that, boobies! Yeah, I know, it's an old joke, but
Before
it's
that,
tradition at this
boobies!
point. Guinevere, daughter of Guinevere, daughter of Gwyn and princess of Sunlight. Oh god, I want to die now.
That's me
Guinevere,
whenever my brain
daughter
doesn't
of
work.
Gwyn and princess of Sunlight. Let me tell you, someone was very, very, very happy when designing her. I'd show you the internet's overall reaction to her, but I don't think I need
they have to relieve themselves every single time when they see
Funny
them.
story, in an interview, Miyazaki said that when creating Guinevere, her height was his idea, but her size was not. The artist on his team who came up with the final design, however, just seemed so pleased with it that Miyazaki didn't have the heart to refuse it, and here we are. Lady Honkers congratulates us on making it all the way
Okay,
here.
I
and
just
rewards
did
us
the-
with the
I just did the
sought-after
Dwayne
Lord
joke. Do
vessel.
we need the honker?
And with it, we have officially unlocked fast travel. Specifically, when resting in a bonfire, you can now warp to a few specific bonfires, which is definitely handy, especially at this point in the game. Also, she's not real.
Whenever people talk,
I'm
whenever
sorry to
people
break your
make talk
hearts.
about AI
Now, this
girlfriends.
is the illusion that Gwyn...
So, this is you just remind me of this one episode from Family Guy when Peter goes to night school to become a knight. And he sees the Black Knight girlfriend. Everyone got hard. Ding 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 except for one person. The guy that runs the pharmacy, the Jewish dude. And he goes like, ding!
Alright, so before we continue, before we probably get demonetized or something, like that, I don't know.
that Gwendolyn had been casting over Anne Orlando would be broken and the entire city
Oh, we won't
descends
get
into
demonetized
night,
because
making
we've
this
already
boss
been
fight available.
demonetized.
However, I did it a bit differently. Back in the catacombs, I came across this here ring, which, when worn, removes the illusory statue of Gwyn guarding Gwendolyn's boss door and opens up the ability to join his Darkmoon Covenant.
Remember,
But
I've been
I
talking
didn't,
about Harry
and instead
Potter so
proceeded to
much
rack up
that
my Regicide count. I would have devoted a whole
we're
segment to
basically
talking about
already
Gwendolyn's
been
boss fight like I've
demonetized.
done with the others, but to be honest, I really don't like it that much. It's an endless hallway battle as he keeps flinging spells at you from a distance
And I bet you
teleporting
the
away
people
from you when
who
you get too close.
created
The
Harry
cluster spell
Potter and
attack
not the
be blocked by
movies
pillars. The
are
big
getting
soul
pissed
arrow
that
goes
this
through
game
them and needs to
had
be
the-
dodged. He'll also fire
had
a
the
rapid
exact
shot bow at you, and that's about
replica-
it. Really, the most interesting thing to talk about with him is his lore, but I'm not going over the lore in this video, so go watch someone else if you really
in their
want.
game.
Fun
I'll
fact,
just
he's
say
a
that the
femboy.
poor guy's got some serious daddy
That boss
issues.
was a femboy.
Not like their dad was exactly a saint, but that's a whole other story.
I can
Me,
tell.
I'm just here for one particular goodie directly after his boss fight. The last miracle to complete my collection. Oh, yes.
Why'd you say it like
And
that?
with
We
the
said.
power of the sunlight medals I gained from
Why'd you
doing a
say it
bunch
like
of
that?
co-op runs off screen, most of which I'll talk about in the behind the scenes and extras video after this one, which will pop up right here when it's done. We return to the Sunlight
Wow,
Altar,
all one breath. Good
Solaire
job.
at our side, and with our deepened pledge to the cause of sunlight and righteousness, we gain the Greater Lightning Spear.
Oh, by the way, I can chug.
And just in time,
Can
too.
boss plug,
Hope
I
you've
can tell you
enjoyed the
something.
ride so far, kids.
You know water bottles, right?
Yeah.
I can chug one water bottle without taking a breath.
I got lie.
Hi.
I didn't know,
I didn't see you.
Hi. I didn't know you were here either. Why, hello.
Eddie.
Oh, hey, Flo's back. Flo's back as well. Hey, Flo.
Oh my god,
Wait,
what the
last question, how long have you been here? How long have you been here?
Who?
You were here. How long? I thought. Where did you come from?
Well, I just disconnected from my. It's because I had to do something.
I know, but I'm more wondering where the heck Sleepy was because I didn't know they were here.
Hi, Sleepy.
So yeah, hey Sleepy. We're doing a reaction video. You want to partake?
What?
Yeah, we're doing a reaction video. Do you want to partake?
You don't know?
You want to partake, buddy? It's a reaction video. Sorry.
It's okay. I mean, after all, if he...
It's okay if you do or you don't.
Yeah, honestly, that's fine if you don't want to. That's fine.
I'll probably just be muted.
That's fair.
I guess he doesn't talk that much.
Alright. Is everyone ready?
Espérate. Quédate.
Everyone ready?
Yep.
It's 8.
3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
Our kids, because now's when things start getting bumpy.
So, are you guys gonna watch one video?
I was going to talk about
like,
the completely optional area, the
Yeah,
painted world.
I don't know how many hours you're gonna
I
spend.
Yeah,
couldn't
it's just
think
this
of a
one
good
video,
place to put it in this
and that'll
script,
be
and this
it
video has
for-
taken long enough
at least
already.
for-
So
for
when I
me,
make
I'll
that
react
extras
for a
video,
while.
I'll talk about it there. So just check that out when it's done.
Yeah, because they have to do some chores that their mom
Firelink Shrine, we find our boy
wants them to
Sigmar
do.
chilling by
And
his
Just more
bonfire.
some just
We let him
general
know that it was
house
us that opened the gate to
of stuff, like,
Sen's
you
Fortress,
can tell
and
myself
as a
to
show
follow
of
through.
thanks, he gives us another miracle, Emit Force, which I'm not a huge fan of, but
Emit
I
Force.
can't
Is
say
it-
no
is
to
it just
that
the
face.
first road?
I'll be heading down below shortly. There's nothing worthwhile up above. No worries. Venturing is my life. I'm prepared for the worst.
I haven't. By the way, sorry about
You
the
gotta
apple juice
admire the
situation. By the
Down
way,
below, we use the
I know I still
Firekeeper's
think
soul
about
to
it
revive
sometimes,
her,
but I had to
and she
just,
speaks.
you know, I had to take a break from it.
That's fine.
My tongue never intended for restoration.
Just to try to at least convince her that I'm
And
just
now
trying to
depressed
go
again.
to therapy
Oh, well,
every 2
wish she's
weeks
alive.
anyway.
Hey, where'd that really sullen dude
To just
go?
let myself
Hey, Logan
know
made his way
I
back
have
here.
feelings
Much to Griggs' delight,
of how I really
Logan
feel.
becomes
It's
a
my
vendor for more
parents'
high-level
stress,
sorceries,
okay?
much like how Rhea got us more
Look here.
powerful miracles.
My parents get
I'm afraid
stressed
that you are
because when they,
unable to
you know,
Or
Oh,
he would if my
okay,
intelligence
what
was high
happened?
enough. Unfortunately, I've been pumping all
Alright,
my souls
here.
into
Let's
my
not worry
Jesus
about
muscles
that.
and my
Besides,
muscle
you got
muscles,
to-
so my brain
you
is as
just
smooth
Jesus
as
muscles?
silk. Not to worry, we'll get a chance to advance his quest later. For now, we can
I
attend
don't
to
understand
Laurentius and,
this.
of course,
I
later,
have to
Sigmar.
have the
First off,
balls
in
to
order
get a
advance
PS5
Laurentius'
for this
quest line, we
because
need to get his
I
pyromancer
never
flame up
owned.
to
I was
plus
never
10.
a Sony dude.
Then, make our way back to
Well,
Blighttown.
this game
Down
is
there,
available on
behind one
Xbox.
of the pillars in the middle of the swamp, we meet a brand new NPC, Quaylana.
What if it's available on PC?
Oh, it's available on PC as well.
You shall be my pupil, but to pursue my pyromancy.
For how much? Let me see on Steam. What is this game?
Dark Souls 1. Or you can
Well,
just
that's not
type in
ominous
Dark
at all.
Souls.
Either way, she becomes a vendor for pyromancies, and we need to pick up one of the ones unique to her. With that done, we scoot our way over to the Great Hollow and find who else but our dear
Espérate,
onion boy
estoy
in a
un-
spot of
estoy en
trouble
línea. Un
once
segundo,
again.
ya voy.
How unexpected.
Onion boy! Who's sleeping standing up?
This guy is a dork, and I love him. This part's simple. He just needs some purple moss to get through the poison.
So there's
And
Dark
with our
Souls
friend once
Remaster
again
on
rescued,
Steam
his quest is advanced, and we make our way back
for
into the big-ass
$40.
tree. Why?
To be fair, that's
well,
cheaper than the
both
prices
to make
nowadays.
getting to a later step in Sigmar's quest easier, and also because
Well,
we need to start
I probably
gathering
have
upgrade
to get it
materials
when
to
I
finish
when
our
I have a
weapon,
job.
and unfortunately,
It's all about,
this place has a
you
few
know,
that we need. I say
freaking
unfortunately
dogs.
because this tree is a fucking dick.
It's a hotel dog thing. family
Welcome to the
sharing.
Great
You play this on
Hollow, or
Steam,
as I like
or
to
do you
call
play
it,
this on your Xbox?
The entire level is a downward progression through winding routes, many of which are round.
I'm sorry, just a little vine boom that just happened there. I'm sorry, I have to backtrack just a little bit because of that.
Back here, much to Griggs' delight, Logan
I was
becomes a vendor
waiting-
for more high-level
alright.
sorceries, much like how Rhea
Hello
got
there,
us
I
more
was
powerful
expecting
miracles.
I'm
I
afraid
promise
that
I
you are
was sharing.
unable to
I'm afraid you are unable to learn
Or
sorcery.
he would if my
His
intelligence
brain
was
waves
high
you
enough.
can make-
Unfortunately, I've been
cannot be
pumping
taught.
all my souls into my Jesus muscles and my muscle muscles, so
Faith,
my brain is as
strength.
smooth as silk.
Let me turn on the
Not to
volume.
worry, we'll get a chance to advance his quest later. For now, we can attend to Laurentius and, of course, later, Siegmeyer. First off, in order to advance Laurentius' quest line, we need to get his Pyromancer Flame up to +10. Then, make our way back to Blighttown. Down there, behind one of the pillars in the middle of the swamp, we meet a brand new NPC, Quaylana.
Very well. You shall be my
You shall
pupil.
want me back.
But to pursue my pyromancy, you must give something up. Are you prepared to do this?
Well, that's not ominous at all. Either way, she becomes a vendor for pyromancies, and we need to pick up one of the ones unique to her. With that done, we scoot our way over to the Great Hollow and find who else but our dear Onion Boy in a spot of trouble once again. How unexpected.
There's so many secrets in this game.
This guy is a dork, and I love him. This part's simple. He just needs some purple moss to get through the poison. And with our friend once again rescued, his quest is advanced, and we make our way back into the big-ass tree. Why? Well, both to make getting to a later step in Siegmeyer's quest easier, and also because we need to start gathering upgrade materials to finish our weapon, and unfortunately, this place has a few that we need. I say unfortunately because
So is
this
this
tree
like a guide
is a
or
fucking
Easter
dick.
eggs?
Oh, this is just someone's like experience whenever they were playing the game. This is just someone's experience whenever they were playing the game.
Oh, the Great Hollow.
Welcome
What
to the
is
Great
this place?
Hollow, or as I like to call it, Help. The entire
Help.
level is a downward progression through winding routes,
Just
many of which
help.
are limited, which
Help.
leads to shit like this happening. If you couldn't tell,
You
I don't
died.
like this place very much. Dark Souls was not
He
meant to be a
fell off.
platformer,
And
and this
oopsie-daisy.
whole level is a great example as to why it wasn't. And even ignoring that, falling onto or jumping between platforms with
I'll
rounded
be
edges
back.
is always an exercise in frustration, no
Okay,
matter
it's
what
fine.
game you're playing. It's
I don't
hard
know
to
why,
not
but
feel
it's
a
fine.
bit annoyed when you're barely off center by half a pixel and end up becoming another statistic for the floor. In the world of gaming,
sounds like
gravity
Moist
has
Critical.
the highest kill count.
A little
And
bit.
if that wasn't enough, more
Oh,
of those
not those
buggy-eyed
things again.
basilisks are in here, and with such limited real estate to work with, it's very fortunate I had big bolts of lightning to solve these problems with. Even then, I still ended up getting cursed and losing a huge chunk of souls in the process. I didn't have a good time while I was down here. There were more than a few butt-clenching moments with these near
This is a
blind
medieval
leaps of
game,
faith.
right?
Kind of, in a sense.
Oh, perfect. That's
Medieval fantasy. It's medieval fantasy, unless I remember.
After a
I could
painstakingly
be wrong,
slow journey, we descend to the bottom, fight our way through the Mushroom Kingdom, apparently, and into one of the coolest areas in the whole game.
Ash Lake.
The Great Hollow leads out into a shoreline of ashen white, looking out over an endless ocean of dark waters. Off in the distance, other massive trees loom into the skies and pierce the surface, as if holding the world above them steady, all backed by that ominous but beautiful music.
God, I love the opera.
I'm not gonna lie, I would love to be in a place like this.
With you, I think. This looks like
After the frustration
if we
of the
went
hollow
back
itself,
many years
finding
ago.
this directly after it was kind of mind-blowing to a younger me. And to think, this whole part of the game is hidden behind a fake wall, hidden behind another fake wall. I have to wonder how many people missed this place their first time around, or for that matter, if there's
it's
anyone
from
out there
Japan.
watching this who still wasn't aware this place existed. I mean, most likely not,
Honestly,
but
never knew it
it's fun to
existed
think
until
about.
I listened
Down
to this
here,
video.
there's a massive hydra blocking our path, and while I failed to get footage of it, it can leap over the shoreline if you try to run away from it, which is more than a bit shittingly terrifying the first time you see it happen. Far
I was saying hi
far
to
at
the
the
circle-
other
to
end
the
of this
hydra that was in
place,
the water.
traveling along the winding shores, you finally reach a broken
Oh,
hollow.
okay. My bad.
And within, you find an ancient dragon, likely the last one remaining following the uprising of the gods. Surprisingly, it seems
Lily Queen.
entirely unbothered by your presence, just
Heyo.
existing. Even if you go all the way around it and
Who are
cut
you?
its friggin' tail off, it's still completely
Hey,
passive,
Lily.
or just uncaring. It's kinda creepy, to be honest. Lore-wise,
What you up to?
looks-wise, and music-wise, Ash Lake
What you up
is amazing. Hands down one of my favorite areas in the whole game.
what's with the gun?
Even if nothing much of note happens down here. Well,
Play 'em
not yet
with the
anyway.
legs.
We did come here to checkpoint it, so we'll be back later. For now, we bring ourselves back up to Firelink and talk to Laurentius. He's impressed by the pyromancy we got from Quaylana and asks if we'd share where we got it. If we say yes, he'll depart for Blighttown to go search himself. And with all that done, let's report back to Frampt. He seems happy to see us with the Lord Vessel.
You okay, Frampt?
Forgive me. I really should.
I'm just playing with you.
Assume that you are ready. Now, be still.
Wait, be still for what? Oh, God, no!
Eaten by the snake.
I'd like to remind you all that it wasn't that long ago when we fed this guy all of our unwanted junk, including literal, actual shit.
Wait, what's that?
Can you imagine how bad it must smell in there?
Oh!
Is the Firelink chamber for the successor of Lord Gwyn. Now,
Okay, unfortunately, I am going to have to pause the video reaction for now, which means because my headset is low on battery at like 19%. Oh boy. So yeah, that's going to be the end of the video. Do you guys have anything to say to the viewers, like any comments, questions, stuff like that?
Wait, are we live?
No, we're not live. We're not live. We're still recording. We're not live streaming.
Oh wait, we're recording.
Yeah, but we're recording the entire time. I even told you. Remember?
All right, hey YouTube. If you want to see my YouTube channel, it's Flotasoda. I might upload some videos. I know I have deleted some because of personal reasons, but you guys have to check out my videos on Flotasoda. That's FLOATO no, it's FLOATASODA. Get it? That's gonna be my YouTube channel, and if you want to look it up, just check out my videos. It may upload some, and you may subscribe to me.
difficulties.
Yeah, some technical difficulties. Alright, that is the end of the video, folks. Again, what's the screen up there for? And that's the end of the video. And until next time, folks, I hope you do it.
And a video.
And I hope you do enjoy. And again, whatever you are, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you are, stay happy. And hey, if you want me getting more scared to the point where my heart feels like I was about to burst out of my chest, let me know. See you guys later.